This page is the front cover of Beep! Mega Drive magazine, September 1993 issue. The cover features Sonic the Hedgehog riding on a dolphin with tails, and promotes several games including Sylphid, Echo the Dolphin, Rocket Knight Adventures, Gauntlet, Jurassic Park, Nobunaga's Ambition, Virtual Racing, RORDS War, Phantasy Star IV, Sonic the Hedgehog, CD, Lethal Enforcers, Umemi Mystery Mansion, KO Flying Squadron, Thunderhawk, R-Shark, Valley Arm. Also highlighted are articles on Street Fighter II and the latest advanced CDLD machines. The price of the magazine is 490 yen. The next page is an advertisement showcasing Jurassic Park for the Sega Mega Drive, highlighting the thrilling experience of encountering resurrected dinosaurs. It also mentions a Game Gear version of Jurassic Park available for early release. The ad features screenshots from the game and promotes the Sega Mega Drive 2 console. Alongside this, there's an advertisement for the sumo wrestling game, Aharimanada, boasting about pulling off deadly moves, with an image of an angry sumo wrestler and in-game screenshots. The bottom of the page features the Sega logo and company information. This page is an advertisement for several Sega Mega Drive and Mega CD games. It features Gunstar Heroes for the Mega Drive, with a release date of September 10th and a price of 6,800 yen, showcasing the characters and fast-paced action. Shining Force 2 for the Mega Drive is also advertised, with a release date of October 1st and a price of 8,800 yen, highlighting the game's enhanced adventure and story. Sonic CD for the Mega CD is advertised, with a release date of September 23rd and a price of 8,800 yen, emphasizing the fast-action gameplay. Finally, the ad showcases Super League CD, a baseball game for the Mega CD, with a release date of August 6th and a price of 7,800 yen. The advertisement includes the Mega CD 2 console and its price of 29,800 yen. The next page is an advertisement for Lethal Enforcers on the Sega Mega CD from Konami. The advertisement features the game's title, a large image of a revolver, and a Konami mascot character. There's also an image of the arcade cabinet for the game, and it says it's a home port of the popular arcade game, so now you can play it in your room. This page is an advertisement for Lethal Enforcers on the Sega Mega CD. The tagline boasts, "Real images through digitization, the urgency of reloading bullets." It emphasizes the arcade-like feel, highlighting features such as the included original light gun, two-player simultaneous play, and compatibility with the separately sold The Justifier light gun for an even more authentic arcade experience. The game was scheduled for release in October for the Mega CD, and a Super Famicom version was planned for release at the end of the year. The next page features the game's Sylphid, with screenshots and details about the game's features. It boasts impressive 3D visuals made possible by CG graphics, combining background imagery with real-time polygon rendering. The game's mechanics emphasize collision detection, destruction judgment, and synchronization with the game plane. The game utilizes 3 CPUs for high-speed processing. The article highlights the game's ability to control the Mega CD's CPU and hardware functions. It mentions that background video and polygon rendering has been technically difficult in the past, but they have solved this and are now able to render these at high speed. It also lists the price as 8,800 yen. This page is an advertisement for Yoyogi Animation Gakuen, an animation and comic school, featuring artwork from the game City Night, created by students. The school offers courses in computer animation and games, animation, art finishing, anime production, background art, anime/AV operation, voice acting, comic and drama production, junior novels, visual illustration, OVA creator training, and special effects. The ad mentions the school has locations in Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, Fukuoka, Sendai, Sapporo, and Harajuku. It offers accommodation, author benefits, scholarships, and free elective courses. The ad promotes free trial lesson days and provides contact information for the school. The next page features character art from Street Fighter II Champion Edition, known as Street Fighter II Plus in Japan, showing the original 8 World Warriors: Guile, E, Honda, Chun-Li, Blanca, Ryu, and Zangief. The Capcom logo and game title, are prominently displayed. The next page is advertising Street Fighter II-Plus Champion Edition for the Sega Mega Drive. It showcases artwork of the characters Ken, Dalsim, Balrog, M. Bison in Japan, Sagat, and M. Bison, Vega in Japan. The text highlights the game's speed and power, promising a new level of battle gaming on the Mega Drive. It also mentions a special Capcom Power Stick Fighter MD controller, equipped with turbo and slow motion functions, coming soon and compatible with the game. This page advertises Nobunaga's Ambition, Lord of Darkness for the Sega Mega Drive. It highlights the game as the ultimate strategy experience, and a classic title returning to the console. The advert features a man in traditional Japanese attire, likely representing Nobunaga, as well as in-game screenshots of the game's strategy map and battle screens. The game is priced at 8,800 yen, and a strategy guide is available for 1,200 yen. The next page is an advert for Winning Post, a thoroughbred horse racing simulation game. It emphasizes the immersive experience, from breeding and training your own horse to the thrill of the race and the owner's emotions. It mentions that the game caters to both beginners and experienced players, and boasts impressive animation, with races featuring 12 horses, as well as the ability to purchase horses. The game features a variety of jockeys and trainers, along with 750 thoroughbreds in the game. The Mega CD version is priced at 12,800 yen, while the Super Famicom version is also 12,800 yen. A Super Guidebook is priced at 1,200 yen, and a handbook is priced at 2,000 yen, and will be released in September. The page includes screenshots of the game's interface, showing horse stats, race results, and in-game events. This page is an advertisement for the historical simulation game Aoki Ukami to Shiroki Mihika, Genchu Hishi, also known as Genghis Khan. Aoki Ukami to Shiroki Mihika, a historical simulation game from Koei. It's being released for the Mega CD and PC Engine CD-ROM in September. The ad features artwork of Genghis Khan and his Mongolian army, highlighting the theme of conquering Eurasia and experiencing his life. The ad also promotes the game as one of Koei's main historical trilogies, alongside Nobunaga's Ambition and Romance of the Three Kingdoms. The Mega CD version is priced at 9,800 yen. The PC Engine CD-ROM version is also priced at 9,800 yen, or 13,800 yen with the SaveCoon device. A Super Famicom/Mega Drive version will also be available for 11,800 yen each. Screenshots illustrate the gameplay, showing map navigation and battle scenes. The next page is an advertisement for the Mega CD shooting game Barry Arm by Human Entertainment, released in 1993. The tagline translates to, "At the moment of destruction, you become a hero." The ad highlights the game's features, including stunning visuals, animations, sound effects, and a multi-layered scrolling system that allows for speed adjustments. Players can utilize 4 item units and robot transformations to power up and engage enemies across 3 levels of difficulty. The ad showcases the game's 7 stages: Gravity Pagoda, Heavy Catapult, Zeus Assault, Olympus Cruzeiras, Mars Base, Caricon GX Submarine, and the final Zeus Brigade. The information section mentions a radio program called Weekend Kiss on JOQR Cultural Broadcasting, featuring DJ U2 Rocket, sponsored by Human Entertainment. The ad lists the price of the game as 7,500 yen, excluding tax. This page is an advertisement for Thunderhawk, a Mega CD exclusive helicopter 3D shooting game. The game is described as placing players in the role of a member of an international special forces organization, piloting the Thunderhawk helicopter in hazardous environments across the globe. Missions involve destroying bridges, sinking submarines, and escorting convoys, with over 60 missions available. The advertisement highlights the game's use of the Mega CD's scaling and rotation capabilities, offering a sense of speed and smooth scrolling. The release date is listed as September, and the price is 7,800 yen, excluding tax. The page features screenshots of gameplay showing desert, water, and snow environments. The next page is an advert for the Mega CD game Kyukyoku Tiger Heli, a vertical scrolling shooter, here called Kyukyoku Tiger. The advert highlights the game as a shoot-'em-up with the main character Rumi Akatsuki, and features screenshots from the game. The story appears to be about hunting for treasure from Tokyo, Japan, to other places like America and Russia. The game boasts an impressive 88 strong players from all over the world as opponents, challenging you to become the world champion. Also advertised on the page is World Cup Mahjong, which will be released on August 27th for 8,200 yen. Kukyoku Tiger will be released on August 6th for 7,400 yen. This page is an advertisement for the Amusement Media Academy, established in April 1994. It promotes courses in computer games, animation, comics, and voice acting, each with a capacity of 100 students. The ad features a woman riding a dinosaur, promising to train creators for the new media age and seeking its first students. It mentions school information sessions on August 21st and September 18th in Tokyo. Contact details and address are listed, along with information about a special scholarship system. The next page showcases the Sega Mega CD version of Might and Magic 2i, Isles of Terra. The advertisement highlights the expansive world, featuring 64 areas, dungeons, towns, and castles. It emphasizes the freedom players have in exploring the game's numerous quests. The advertisement targets RPG fans looking for a challenging and free-roaming experience. It notes the game supports the Sega Mouse and Fighting Pad 6B, sold separately, as well as a backup RAM cartridge, also sold separately. This page is a table of contents for the September 1993 issue of BeepMD magazine. It highlights key articles and features for the month. The main sections include a special on Sylphid, a guide for the game, and a feature called B-Mega Hot Menu, covering new game releases like Echo the Dolphin and Marble Madness. There's a special summer research feature on advanced CD and LD games, and 4 special reports on Virtua Racing, Phantasy Star IV, F1, and Record of Lodos War. Also featured is info on Street Fighter 2-Plus. The Mega CD Press section provides information on new Mega CD releases, including Sonic the Hedgehog CD, Lethal Enforcers, Eye of the Beholder, Mighty and Magic 2i, F1 Circus CD, and other games. The page also lists various articles and features, like B-Mega Dataland, the scene of J-League, Sonic Communication, and an interview with voice actress Megumi Hayashibara. Other sections included are news, information, columns, reader contributions, and previews. This page presents a breakdown of top-selling Mega Drive, Mega CD, and Game Gear titles, analyzing their performance and trends. Puyo Puyo still holds the top spot, performing well in stores. J-League Pro Striker and Shining Force Gaiden 2, The Sword of Hajia are new entries with strong sales. Other top games include Golden Axe 2i, Mega Schwarzschild, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Ernest Evans, and Rystar. The bottom portion of the page lists the top 5 video games currently trending: Outrunners, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, World Heroes 2, Lethal Enforcers, and Martial Champion. It also notes that Outrunners is making its debut and is popular for its communication battles, and teases the upcoming AM show with new game reveals. The next page reveals user data, with a top 20 list of most desired games for porting. Fatal Fury 2 takes the top spot, followed by World Heroes 2 and Tenchi wo Kurao 2. Other games in the top 10 include Final Fantasy, Phantasy Star, Princess Maker, Wolf Fang, Dark Edge, Captain Commando, and Snatcher. There's also a top 15 list of anticipated new Mega Drive titles. Shining Force 2 leads with 309 points, followed by Super Street Fighter 2 with 286 points, and Virtua Racing in third place with 136 points. Further down the list are games such as Gunstar Heroes, Phantasy Star IV, Surging Aura, Sonic the Hedgehog CD, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Popful Mail, Panorama Cotton, Streets of Rage 3, Yu Yu Hakusho Gaiden, Shin Megami Tensei, Lethal Enforcers, and Langrisser 2. The page also mentions that Sonic CD will have a 3D special stage, highlighting Lethal Enforcers as a well-regarded arcade port. This page is a game review section, featuring a vibrant layout with game titles and screenshots and ratings by reviewers. It kicks off with a note about the summer season and a mention of B-Megadog Race. There are many reviews from different perspectives under headings like Game Beginner Girl by Yuko Aoyama, Foreign Game User by Kuji Olix, Game Mania Group by High Rollers, and General Game User by Jam Ojizun. The first game reviewed is Wizard of Immortal, costing 9,800 yen, noting the password system and single-player mode. It highlights diverse enemies, traps, and puzzles within a court-of-view dungeon, aiming to defeat the great wizard Mortimer. The reviewer gives it an average score of 6.5, mentioning the gruesome graphics and the opinion that girls might like it. The second reviewed title is Marble Madness, at 6,800 yen, supporting two-player gameplay. It describes a port of the '84 Atari game, set in 3D obstacle courses, requiring marble navigation to reach the goal. It is noted that the control may be difficult. It gets a 7.0 rating. The next page continues the game review section with 4 games featured with screenshots and opinions. First up is Killing Game Show by EA Victor. Priced at 8,900 yen, it supports two-player gameplay. Players control a powered suit trying to escape a closed map in this port from Psygnosis. The reviewer gives it an average score of 5.0, mentioning that it has challenging action, noting puzzles, and the cool demo from the Amiga version. Next is Ahari Manada by Sega, priced at 7,800 yen and supporting two-player battles. This game is a fighting game based on the manga series in Weekly Morning and involves a wrestler battling to surpass past wrestlers. The reviewer gives it 5.75, noting that the game has wrestlers jumping high and featuring special moves, which makes it unlike traditional sumo. Then comes Jurassic Park by Sega at 6,800 yen. It supports one-player mode only. It's based on the film where players take on the roles of humans and dinosaurs. The reviewer gives it 6.0, commenting on the graphics, but also mentioning the difficulty due to traps and complex maps. Lastly is Sylphide by GameArts, costing 8,800 yen. The reviewer gives it an average score of 8.5, pointing out the polygons and graphics being impressive. This page features reviews for several games. First, there's Zhanggu World Cup by Victor Entertainment, priced at 8,200 yen. This mahjong game is a port from the PC series, featuring 4 characters who learn your playing style. The reviewer gives it an average score of 6.5 and states it's easy for beginners to win. They mention the graphics are a bit plain. Then there is Nazo Puyo by Sega, costing 15,800 yen. This puzzle game comes bundled with GG+1 and features 100 new puzzles with edit features. The reviewer gives it an average score of 7.0 and recommends it for those who enjoy puzzle games. The editorial section from BeepMD highlights Sylphide as a standout title. They also mention upcoming releases like Street Fighter 2-Plus, Sonic CD, and Gunstar. The individual game recommendations include Sylphide as a must-see demo for Mega CD owners. They also suggest Marble Madness and Immortal set for overseas game fans. Finally, the section emphasizes that Sylphide is a must-buy, while also mentioning other interesting titles like Marble, Zhanggu, Immortal, and Jurassic Park. Nazo Puyo is recommended for those without a GG. This page is a reader participation section called BeepMD Reader Race. It features reader-submitted scores and reviews for various Mega Drive games. The page details the concept of the corner, where readers reevaluate Mega Drive software on a 10-point scale. The average score of all voters is then published in the magazine, along with the opportunity for voters to become game critics by providing their own reviews. The games are presented in a ranking format, including their position, previous position, title, genre, and average score. It also contains 2 sections highlighting specific games: Rival Dark Horses Introduction and Hidden Gem Introduction. Mega Mania is reviewed, described as a strategy game where you have to win with as few people as possible. Battletoads is also reviewed and described as a weird game with high quality. The reviewer mentions they enjoy the easy nature of the game. Illusion City, which is reviewed, describing the graphics and scrolling as below average. The Odds Table Abs section highlights Night Striker and J-League Pro Striker as games with rising popularity. The Other Outside the Norm section features Magical Hats Turbo Adventure, described as a game that few people know but can be fun to play with different items. The next page features the BeepMD Reader Race, showcasing reader scores and reviews for various Mega Drive games. A section called Rival Dark Horses Introduction highlights a few games. NBA Pro Basketball, Bulls vs. Lakers, is ranked at 114, with reader comments noting its realistic gameplay despite outdated data. Monster Hunter Yoko, 7th Alarm, ranks 166, being described as super difficult. Ultraman is ranked 169, with reviewers commenting on the simple yet engaging gameplay. Philios, at 201, is complimented for its shooting mechanics and graphics. The important games to watch introduction includes Sangokushi 2, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2, less than Mega CD Edition greater than, ranked 177, with reviewers criticizing its extra CD content. Doraemon, Dream Dorobu and 7-9 no Gozansu is ranked 208, with mixed reviews regarding the gameplay changes. The page includes a reader's voice section, with players requesting games and discussing titles. This section mentions Yakisoban, Ninja Warriors, and Rise. The table lists games with their genres and average scores, including titles like Magical Talutokun, Capcom Quiz, Lord's Ambition, Phantasy Star II, Battletoads, and King Colossus. This page presents the B-Mega Reader race, with game rankings, scores, and a special section on Langrisser. The top-ranked games include Strider, Golden Axe 2, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and Langrisser, with their respective genres and average scores. A detailed, stable information section focuses on Langrisser, providing its origins, birth date, price, type, backup, and player count. A Langrisser one-point memo offers a personal anecdote from the writer, who shares their experience of becoming engrossed in the game. They praise the game's balance, controls, character design, and storyline. The B-Mega Data Horse Racing ticket analyzes Langrisser's popularity, noting its initial first-place ranking and comparisons to Fire Emblem. The section highlights the game's strong support from MegaDrive users. The Reader's Choice section features reader comments and opinions on Langrisser. The page also includes a chart showing the distribution of votes for the games. There is a caption, a word to the famous horse. If you jump and fly, it's refreshing. Peace. Whose hobby is Nam's costume? Yumiko. The page features a list of games, their genres, and average scores. However, it is similar to the previous page, so it is not translated again to avoid duplicate information. This page is focused on game reviews and a couple of strategy titles. First, there's a review of Granada, originally a computer game, praising its balanced gameplay and level design. The reviewer shares personal experiences of playing it and recommends it to action fans. Next, there's a section on Air Management 96, a flight simulation game, describing it as easy to play but challenging. The reviewer humorously talks about airline management. Finally, Alicia Dragoon is shown. A game with difficult access in the market is recommended. A title called Outrun 2019 is also teased. The next page features the Beep Mega Reader Race segment. The main discussion revolves around comparing Sega's and Nintendo's software output strategies, asking if Sega is releasing too many games. It presents data on the number of games released and their average review scores for both companies, and discusses how Sega relies more on third-party developers compared to Nintendo. The article suggests that while Nintendo focuses on quality over quantity, Sega might need to increase its reliance on third-party developers. There's also a Guess the Ranking game segment, where readers predict the ranking of the upcoming game Sylphid. The page includes a game where readers can predict the average score of the Super Shinobi 2 to win prizes. Finally, there's a call for readers to participate in the Beep Mega Reader Race, including instructions on how to vote, and a chance to win prizes like the game Terminator 2 and a MegaDrive game. The text at the bottom lists the names of people who won a software gift set in the previous reader race. This page is a scene from the J-League, with the title, The Scene of J-League, highlighting the latest information from the J-League, with the subtitle, A J-League Full of Unprecedented Excitement. This is Volume 3. A report from the 14th section of the Suntory series, 6/30ths, at the Todoroki Athletic Stadium. It features a match between Verdy Kawasaki and Shimizu Spulse, subtitled, Triumph for Shimizu, in the rainy PK Showdown. Shimizu's fourth consecutive victory against Kawasaki. The article briefly discusses Verdy Kawasaki's internal troubles and Shimizu Spulse's winning streak in rainy matches. The page includes photos from the game and a match summary, listing goal scorers and details. The results show 11 draw, with Shimizu winning 42 on penalties. There's also information about final standings and top goal scorers, listing teams such as Antlers, Verdes, and Marinos, along with their stats and top scorers like Alcindo, Diaz, and Nagashima Akihiro. This page is from Mega Racing Freak Volume 4, covering the N1 Endurance Race Series, specifically the fourth round of the N1 Endurance Series and the third round of JGTC/JSS. The page features a Fuji touring car 6-hour race and discusses how touring car races are becoming popular this year. It mentions that while Formula One and IndyCar races attract attention, touring car races offer a sense of closeness. The article notes that modifications are allowed to improve aerodynamics, such as adding wings and cowls, resulting in flashy machines. It highlights the excitement of different classes of cars racing together, leading to battles and overtaking. The page includes photos of various race cars, including the Falcon GTR, which won the N1 Endurance race, and the Tokyo Skyline, which came in second. There's also a photo of a Calsonic GTR and Race Queens. It also briefly talks about BMW and Prelude Racing. This page is from BeepMD Network and highlights games from Banpresto and Sega. It introduces Banpresto's Mobile Suit Gundam fighting game and Sega's Burning Rival. The Gundam game lets players recreate battles from the anime. It features RX-78 Gundam and mobile suits from the Zeon Forces. The review recommends the Versus mode, allowing for fights between Gundams. Winning requires 2 victories, with options for continues and mid-game joining, and it highlights the special attacks. Screenshots show gameplay with Zegok and Gundam. The control schemes and moves for mobile suits like Gundam, Zaku, Goof, Dom, Zegok, and Gelgoog are listed. Burning Rival by Sega is described as an orthodox fighting game using punch and kick buttons. It involves a martial arts tournament with 8 fighters competing for fame or fortune in Beast of 3 matches. Screenshots show various characters and stages from the game. This page from B-Mega CM Detective Agency features the Game Gear CM collection. It covers the 15th installment of the Game Gear CM, including the Sparkling Colors Edition and others. The airing period for Sparkling Colors was from July 8, 1993, with recording on June 24, 1993. The CM features Yumiko Takahashi. The CM series is showcased through 5 key scenes. Yumiko transitioning from a monochrome world to a colorful one, Yumiko with a bright smile, Yumiko surrounded by various games, and a package deal featuring the Game Gear with Sonic 2. The article highlights CMS like the Crab Edition from April 1991, the Kintaro Edition from November 1991, the Outing Edition from November 1992, and the Color Declaration Edition from March 1993. The CM production process, the unique approach of the Game Gear CMS, and the idol-like promotion of Yumiko Takahashi are also discussed. Also included is a direct handwritten autograph for a special present. The next page showcases B-Mega Genesis information, with a focus on the Sega Genesis game, Cyborg Justice. The reviewer notes the continued popularity of fighting games in Japan and abroad. Cyborg Justice is presented as a slightly different kind of robot action game, with a cyberpunk atmosphere. A key feature highlighted is the ability to customize your robot, combining different heads, torsos, and legs to influence speed, jumpability, endurance, and attacks. The reviewer emphasizes experimenting with parts and mastering the robot's characteristics. Screenshots show gameplay with robot explosions and customizable parts like saw-shaped arms and hammer arms. There are also in-game tips, such as using jump kicks to cross large gaps. There are 2 sets of screens, one in the assembly room and the other during gameplay. This page of B-Mega News and Information previews upcoming arcade games and events. The 31st Amusement Machine Show is coming up, featuring Sega and Capcom among the 67 participating companies. Sega will showcase Dragon Ball Z fighting action game using infrared sensors, as well as the As One motion simulator. Konami is also expected to reveal 3 action titles, including the side-scrolling beat-em-up Violent Storm. In addition to video games, there will also be new air hockey games. The general public is invited to the show on August 28th at Makuhari Messe in Chiba, with tickets costing 2,000 yen for junior high school students and above, and 1,000 yen for elementary school students. The page also announces the completion of a Super League CD, featuring former baseball player Takashi Igawa, who supervised the project. Finally, there's information about the Mega Drive tournament in Okayama Summer Carnival 93, an event organized by Okayama Broadcasting, producers of the B-Mega World program. The event took place on July 24th and 25th, and featured 15 playable titles including released and unreleased titles like Echo the Dolphin and Gunstar Heroes. BeepMD News covers various entertainment releases. Sega's Sega Sonic Summer Festival features original merchandise and quizzes at amusement centers nationwide. The Walt Disney Film Festival, supported by Capcom, highlighted Aladdin and composer Alan Menken's live performance. Girl group Puff, who released the Starting Over theme song for All Shark, discussed their love for games like Sylphide and Puyo Puyo. Puff's Starting Over CD single is promoted. New music releases include albums by Yumiko Takahashi, Izumi Kato, and Tomiko Kobayashi, along with the Mizu no Tabibito Samurai Kids soundtrack. A Walkure Story for Orchestra CD features music from Namco's Valkyrie games. Steel Gunner 1 and 2 video games and a Fighter Stick MD joystick for the Mega Drive are also announced. Finally, Victor is releasing DCC and MD players, including the Wonder Mega RGM2. This page is an advertisement for Street Fighter II Plus for the Sega Mega Drive, acknowledging the game's delayed release and fans' anticipation. Boasting 24 MB, it promises a substantial upgrade with new game modes. The page highlights enhanced graphics, with reworked visuals such as Blue Hadokens and Bison's muscular build. All 12 stages have been graphically updated. It also shows in-game screenshots of Ryu, Ken, E. Honda, and Chun-Li's stages, emphasizing graphical improvements. The game is slated for a late September release at 4,800 yen. The next page is for Street Fighter II Plus, showcasing the Hyper Mode edition, which allows speed adjustments and new special moves. It mentions the inclusion of all the boss characters as playable, along with same character matchups. The page also highlights the Team Battle Mode, a powered-up version of the two-player versus mode, with options for total battle and winner stays on matches. A new joystick design for the Mega Drive is announced, priced at 9,800 yen. The screenshots depict Bison, Balrog, Sagat, and Vega stages, along with Blanca, Zangief, Guile, and Dhalsim. Guile is portrayed in the bottom right with the text saying, "Until next month's Street Fighter II special issue, train hard at the arcade and wait." The next page is about the upcoming Sega Mega Drive version of Virtua Racing. It's described as a joint press demo hosted by AM2, Sega's internal development group, promising to capture the essence of the arcade experience. The page mentions the game is about 30% complete at this stage, and will include two-player simultaneous play. It highlights the arcade developers being directly involved in the port. They note a focus on recreating the feel of the arcade game, with particular attention being paid to the graphics. The page features screenshots that showcase the game's visual fidelity and 4 different camera angles. It also reveals that the Mega Drive version will have a two-player split-screen versus mode, as well as a relay mode, where players can observe from multiple camera angles. The AM2 developers, Yu Suzuki and Koichi Nagata, are mentioned. This page provides more details about the upcoming Mega Drive version of Virtua Racing. Check 1 discusses how much of the arcade version's content will be present, including the Ferris wheel, driver animations, and other elements. They are trying to ensure that the game's graphics and feeling is translated well. Check 2 delves into the power of the DSP chip in the Mega Drive cartridge, stating that the arcade version uses 5,500 to 6,000 polygons per frame, while the Mega Drive version will manage 400 to 500 polygons per frame, thanks to the DSP. Check 3 confirms that the card data, physics, and handling will be identical to the arcade version. Check 4 addresses the control scheme, mentioning that the Mega Drive version will use the 6-button controller and allow for both digital and analog input. Check 5 teases new modes beyond the arcade version, with additional camera angles and options for customizing the race experience. 3 courses are planned. Check 6 talks about the release date and price, noting that the high-performance DSP chip will likely make the game expensive. A release by the end of the year is targeted. Finally, the page is asking for readers to send in suggestions for the Mega Drive version of Virtua Racing to a designated address. There is a photo of AM2 developer Yu Suzuki, and encouraging readers to submit their ideas. The next page is a feature on Phantasy Star IV and the reasons for upgrading the cartridge to 24 megabits. The developers explain that the extra space allows for richer visuals, varied environments, and improved quality. The game won't be a linear experience and should take about 30 hours to complete. They were unwilling to compromise, and the increased size will not affect the release date. The article then delves into the new system's techniques. Each character can have up to 7 special techniques. These techniques have limited uses, but leveling up increases the number of uses. Players can recover these at an inn. The developers want players to use skills frequently. Combination battles. Players can combine 2 or more techniques for different effects, encouraging players to experiment. Commands. Players can pre-program up to 8 command patterns for battles. This automates actions and enables complex combinations. It's designed to help players reliably reproduce combinations. The developers hint at even more features to be revealed next month. The page also has screenshots of battle scenes and field exploration, as well as comments from the development team. Rieko Kodama, the team leader. Yoshiki Kawasaki, the graphic designer. Yoshiaki Menmei, the main programmer. And Daisuke Yamamoto, the programmer for field and event-related programs. This page is an article about the Tengen Free 1 game, noting that the title is still undecided. It emphasizes the game's speed and controls. The game offers a 3D cockpit view, and the main selling point is its exceptional control. Polygon graphics are used for the scenery, like the grandstands, pit lane, and tunnels. There are 13 types of courses. The game allows for both CPU and 2-player battles using a split screen. It highlights the importance of knowing the course and choosing the right tires during pit stops. Look for Sonic hidden on the signs. The Sonic reference is also highlighted with an image of him. There are screenshots of the game's different tracks, including shots of France, Italy, and Australia. This page is an article focusing on Record of Lodos War, a role-playing game, RPG, for the Sega Mega CD. The game is part of a planned trilogy. The article includes an interview with Mr. Takayama from SNEI, along with Mr. Aga from Kodo Studio, discussing the game's current status. Mr. again mentions that the programming and system are mostly complete, and the scenario is progressing rapidly. Mr. Takayama explains that the game is based on the Compte Key, serialized replay's first part, but unlike other versions, it will incorporate elements from the complete 7-volume novel series. They also discuss the battle system, which features tactical combat with varying map sizes. The game includes large-scale simulations and win conditions for each battle. Character skills will reflect their attributes, with the possibility of carrying over data across the trilogy. Video anime fans can look forward to the inclusion of video clips and voice actors from the anime. The opening and ending scenes are being redrawn with improved image quality. The article highlights original opening visuals created for the Mega CD version. The game will use images from the OVA series, along with the original voice actors. Also, there will be 4 or 5 new original characters, exclusive to the Mega Drive version. It also mentions the creation of Record of Lodos War World Guide, which will be incorporated into the Mega CD game. The next page is a preview of upcoming games titled New Release Scramble. It features Vampire Killer, Castlevania, Bloodlines, for the Sega Mega Drive. Konami aims for the highest quality in the series, with 6 stages. The game will have branching paths and hidden rooms. The story begins in Dracula's castle, with 2 young people heading to the castle to confront a mysterious beauty. The completion gauge is at 40%, and it is a 1-player game. It introduces Johnny Morris, a 22-year-old Belmont descendant from America, and Eric Lecard, a 25-year-old from Spain. The other game highlighted is Surging Aura, an original Mega Drive RPG with high expectations. The graphics are being redrawn, and the release date is undecided. The game focuses on magic combat, with spellcasting and real-time battles. It shows a magic system diagram, with elements like light, darkness, earth, water, fire, and wind, and explains how to counter enemy spells. The completion gauge is at 30%, and it is a 1-player game. This page continues with the New Release Scramble section, featuring previews of upcoming games. The first game is Jungle Strike, where you have to protect the White House. Kilbaba's son is back for revenge, and it's up to you to stop him. The game feels more like a 007 movie than a war game, and you'll have new weapons to use, alongside helicopter types such as Apache, and the latest model of the Comanche. There are also other vehicles like hovercrafts, bikes, and stealth vehicles. The completion gauge is at 90%, and it is a 1-player game. The next game featured is Mutant League Football. Electronic Arts is known for sports games, but this one is different. Mutant League Football is a game where mutants fight on the field. You can beat up players, cause explosions, and the coach has some harsh words. The game program uses the same series as Pro Football, so the quality is high. The completion gauge is at 100%, and it is a 2-player game. The next magazine features previews of upcoming games. Hybrid Front, a strategy game based on Advanced Daisen Ryaku, is in development with a strong staff. Blaster Master Remake is at 80% completion, focusing on refined side-scrolling action. Yu Yu Hakusho Gaiden, an original story game, is at 30% completion. Time Dominator is near completion, 100%, and includes a time attack mode. Other upcoming games, including Battle Mania Daiginju with a new shooting system, Langrisser 2, Virtual Racing, and Phantasy Star IV, are also mentioned, with more details promised in the next issue. This page features an interview with voice actress Megumi Hayashibara, known for roles such as Lena Inverse in Slayers and Rei Ayanami in Neon Genesis Evangelion, discussing her career and work. She mentions her early aspirations to be a voice actress influenced by shows like Sally the Witch and Ako-chan, and her initial shock at seeing voice actors in the spotlight during the Yamato and Gundam boom. Her first named role was in Maison Ikoku as Yusuke, and she recalls her experience with La Puta, Castle in the Sky. She also discusses her role as Pain in 3x3 Eyes, noting she was selected for the role early on. Additionally, she touches on her radio DJ work and the differences between voice acting and radio. Her profile lists her birth date as March 30, 1967, and mentions her album release on August 21st. The page features advertisements for Megumi Hayashibara's album Shamrock and the Sega game 3x3 Eyes. Shamrock, released on August 21st, includes a 40-page photobook. 3x3 Eyes is a Sega RPG with original events and endings on Creedrom, a tie-in with a lucky draw offering a live performance from Megumi Hayashibara for the game buyers. This page is a spotlight on Echo the Dolphin for the Sega Mega Drive, calling it a marine action-adventure where sea creatures are alive and swimming. It encourages players to become one with the dolphins to fully enjoy the game's story. The page suggests that those who bought the game wanting to see real dolphins should go to aquariums. Also, there is a suggestion to go see a dolphin show and then play the game to experience it in a new way. Other games mentioned briefly include Gunstar Heroes and Marble Madness, along with the price of Echo the Dolphin being 6,800 yen. The next page gives more details on Echo the Dolphin, focusing on the game's story and gameplay. The story starts with a peaceful ocean scene, where Echo and his friends are jumping and playing until a tornado suddenly appears, sucking up Echo's friends and other creatures. Echo sets out to find his missing companions, venturing outside the inlet for the first time. He encounters other dolphins who have also been caught by the tornado. On his journey, he will meet an orca, killer whale, who is like an older brother to Echo, offering advice along the way. The orca tells Echo that he needs to head north to meet Big Blue. On the way, Echo faces sharks, and in one segment has to rescue his captured friends by swimming through a water current. The page also highlights the various creatures Echo encounters, such as an octopus and orca. There are also screenshots of gameplay. This page focuses on Echo the Dolphin, detailing a specific area in the game, the Arctic Ocean. The page highlights the harsh environment of the Arctic Ocean, where the water is freezing and filled with dangerous creatures like sharks and crabs. Echo is searching for Big Blue, navigating through ice-covered waters. There's text describing the icy obstacles and how Echo overcomes them, noting the challenging journey and his determination. The page also includes a dolphin encyclopedia section, discussing different dolphin species beyond the common bottlenose dolphin. It mentions species like the spotted dolphin, white dolphin, and killer whales, noting their varying sizes and habitats. The encyclopedia also touches on what dolphins eat and general facts. Also shown are 3 images: a bottlenose dolphin, a white dolphin, and a killer whale. The next page, under the header Mega Hot Menu, talks about rescuing friends in Echo the Dolphin. It describes a scene where Echo hears a loud voice and encounters Big Blue, who explains that a tornado appears every 500 years, taking sea creatures away. Echo learns about Asterite from Big Blue, who is an ancient being. There's a personal story from Sergeant Sakuyama about seeing dolphins as a child and being impressed by their size, and also includes a screenshot from later in the game. The page then asks, "Who is Asterite?" stating that Echo's journey is to find out who Asterite is, and mentions that Echo is ready for anything and jumps powerfully. Finally, there's a blurb from the developers, noting how cute Echo is when he's swimming and encouraging players to experience the game and its stylish packaging. The next page features Gunstar Heroes, hyping it as a must-have title for September with full completion and 2-player support. It emphasizes the characters, with their diverse settings and 14 types of shots, plus stages beyond level 6. The page dives into character bios. There's Gray, the Empire's leader seeking to revive gold and silver, and Red and Blue, heroes who once sealed gold and silver on the moon. G.I. Orange, a high-ranking officer and Stage 3 boss, is known for his immense strength. Yellow, a kind girl from the natives, supports Red and Blue, worried about her brainwashed brother Green, a former Gunstar hero now developing weapons for the Empire. We also have Smash Daisaku, a colonel who's always meddling. Kane and Kotaro, Pink Floyd's henchmen, with Kane handling the muscle and Kotaro developing mechs. Pink Floyd himself, a lazy Empire officer, delegates work to Kane and Kotaro. Dr. Brown, an ex-archaeologist, turned against the Empire. Black, another officer who values fun and built Sugoroku Fortress. And the Zako, a generic soldier with many variations, round out the cast. The next page is a BeepMD hot menu feature dedicated to Gunstar Heroes, promising a complete guide to the game's 14 different shot types, supplementing the previous month's introduction. It humorously claims to reveal secrets, like the origin of the Baka homing weapon name. The page details each shot type. Horse, described as versatile with rapid fire. Lightning, a piercing laser with limited ammo. Chaser, a homing weapon. And Fire, a short-range flame attack. Other weapons include John's Machine Gun SS with bigger bullets. Laser 100, with adjustable firing direction. Bakuretsu Fire, which creates explosions. Harakiri Laser, a blade-style beam. Makibishi Bullet, a star-shaped projectile, and several different homing and soul fire variations. The Gunhee column discusses the game's difficulty settings, noting how they impact enemy count, speed, and enemy appearance. It mentions that the Stage 2 7-Force transformation is limited to 3 forms on easy difficulty, and 7 forms on hard. The page also shows screenshots of Stage 6, featuring a shooting level inside a giant battleship. It also highlights the difference between the easy and expert modes of certain bosses. This page from the BeepMD hot menu section is focused on Gunstar Heroes. It describes the tough battle with Green, a former comrade, and how players must face him without rest after fighting through the battleship. A note is made that Green's behavior differs from his appearance in Stage 2. The page also details several enemy types, including Solider, who uses a counterattack boomerangs, Club, Tiger, and Eagle, and explains a little about their attack patterns. It then moves on to detail the 3 guard devices protecting the core of the battleship. The first is the unit of Hammer with rotating arms and jumping motion. The second is the unit of Dragon that launch energy balls. The third is the unit of Planner with high-speed attacks. The author jokes that the floor rotation in the unit of Hammer stage might make you dizzy. Finally, it highlights Stage 7, noting the final, fierce resistance from the Empire, including its 4 leaders. It asks whether Gray will revive the evil god Gold and Silver, and encourages players to watch out for the game being sold out soon. The developer also gives a comment, comparing the basic gameplay to that of Thunder Force 2 Eyes Cerberus. The next page reviews Marble Madness on the Sega Mega Drive, noting that the port is nearly identical to the arcade version, with finely tuned mouse controls and easy-touse pad controls. The reviewer focuses on stages 4 to 6, pointing out the difficulty. Stage 4 requires careful braking to avoid falling at the start and features narrow passages. Stage 5, the upside-down stage, encourages players to step on characters to increase the remaining time, despite how hard it is to do so. Stage 6, the final stage, includes all previous enemies and disappearing pathways. The page also introduces some of the enemy characters and stage features. These include Vacuum, which sucks in the marble, Imwamu, which obstructs the marble with a cylindrical pole, the Hammer, which hits the marble near the goal, the Catapult, which throws the marble, and Birdie, a character that causes a miss when hit. The developers add a comment encouraging readers who felt the passion of the team to send fan letters. This page, titled Beepland, presents a collection of reader letters and responses from the magazine's staff. There's a section called Funky Letters Station, Megatalks. One letter discusses the rumor about Sonic's side job, and another asks about the Natch's plans for July. Another reader wonders if the voice of Ailes from Lunar, the silver star being lunar, is just a thing. One player shares an experience of encountering an unusual character after beating Vermilion. The Megatalk section features reader comments, and DJ equals Nemo's replies. DJ equals Nemo mentions that the reader submission section is kind of lacking. There's a spotlight on Toe Jam Jammin' from Toe Jam and Earl on the Sega Mega Drive as the featured background music. There's also a notice section asking for reader submissions of interesting or surprising events. One reader shares an anecdote about someone referring to something as Akuma no Musukogoto, and another asks where to find a store that lets you play Mega Drive and Game Gear systems. Another reader talks about a girl who only owns a Mega Drive and recommends Cheeky Cheeky Boys. This page features a Culture Independence Declaration section introducing Sega Mega Drive slang, including terms like IA, good taste, and 6B, high performance product. Other sections include fan art submissions, Illustration City, showcasing Sonic, Tails, and Dr. Eggman, alongside original characters. MD Rumor Truth discusses potential releases like Yaiba, and rumors about Toe Jam and Earl 2. A section on the Game Gear and Sasaki Akira, as well as a rare Sega cassette, are also included. Finally, the page details information from Electronic Gaming Magazine and a Street Fighter II comic. The next page delves into the sound design of the Sega Mega Drive version of Gauntlet. The developers from Reason and Hemo discuss the challenges of porting the arcade game's audio and creating original music. They highlight the use of PCM voice samples and the effort to recreate the atmosphere of the game. There's also a reader submission section featuring a song about Sega, referencing anime themes and various Sega games and characters. Finally, an information corner with reader contributions is presented, including Megatalk, Illustration City, and requests for submissions, such as game music parodies for Mega Drive games and standout moments in Mega Drive titles. A small product section and reader letter selection is also included. This page presents a user's voice section focusing on the Game Gear. Readers share their opinions and ideas for improvement, including requests for more short session games, a wider variety of genres, and different hardware versions. One reader suggests a special edition white Game Gear, comparing it to the Walkman, and suggesting that more Master System ports would bring in more users. Another suggests that Game Gear needs a better screen and battery life. A survey results chart shows that readers want more software, better screen quality, and longer battery life for the Game Gear. There's also a call for submissions to the magazine, specifically for ideas for wrestling games. The Illustration City section features a drawing of Outrun, submitted by a reader, along with a manga illustration. Also featured in this section is a reader named Sururin, age 21, from Ibaraki Prefecture. Lastly, there's a From Beeple section with short reader contributions. One reader mentions seeing a Wonder Mega 2 promotion, another discusses the issue of limited video inputs on TVs, another mentions playing the Game Gear under the covers at night, and another recounts a story of a Sega magazine being mistaken for an erotic magazine by customs officials. The next page is another user's voice segment where readers share their opinions on Sega games and hardware. One reader discusses their visit to a Sega booth, praising its open layout and expressing excitement for the upcoming SIL feed, also mentioning that the next game needed Sonic speed. Another reader recounts a meeting with someone who owned an SG-1000, requesting more realistic sound effects, such as river sounds changing as a character approaches. A reader expresses hope for a remake of Space Harrier 2 with improved graphics and sound, as the original release was lacking. Another reader suggests using terminal units for TVs to enhance image quality, noting the noticeable difference in visuals. One reader comments on the rising quality of TVs and suggests using peripherals to maximize the potential of the Mega Drive, especially for Wonder Mega users. A reader, Kuchan, aged 19, from Tokyo, created the Sonic CD demo drawing. Other reader submissions are featured too. Here, there are a few names mentioned in the Soft Present Winner section. This Sonic Communication Magazine article features Fight, Shu V, The Tired Chapter, with a Crisis Occurred section summarizing previous episodes. Shu V, challenged by Dogen, faces a threat from the secret society, led by Taguchi Emperor, a name that deeply troubles the staff. Disagreement ensues, with staff members expressing concern about the implications of Taguchi's rise and the potential for all-out war. They worry about the potential capture of other key figures, like Takeuchi Dai, the composer. The staff debate violence versus financial solutions to the conflict, ultimately highlighting Shuvi's perilous situation as he battles a magical threat, possibly in Sonic's conference room. The next page presents a variety of segments. Taguchi's Proverb Dojo features humorous banter between characters named Taguchi, Budo, and Dogen, referencing Emperor Taguchi and teasing conflict, including discussions on potential transformations into monsters. Hanako's OL Diary includes reader submissions and opinions on Shining Force 2, with one reader expressing surprise at the manual creation process involving copying and using a word processor. The Sonic Communication Mania section showcases reader-submitted fan art and letters centered around Shining Force 2 and Shining Force Gaiden 2. Finally, the page announces the end of a regular column, expresses gratitude to readers, and provides an address for submitting fan mail. It also notes character designs by Suzen for Shining Force 2, and mentions the irregular return of Takahashi Hiroyuki wants to make the industry interesting, due to the president's busy schedule. This page is titled Treasure Factory, marking the Treasure Company's first anniversary. It features commentary from the Treasure team, and highlights the upcoming releases of McDonald's Treasureland Adventure and Gunstar Heroes. There is a section dedicated to reader submissions and fan art, with some pieces receiving the High Han Award, along with doodles and comments on fan mail. The section contains character designs and fan art of Treasure characters, like McDonald's, Red and Blue from Gunstar Heroes, and more. There is an Ask the Great Person section, where a fan asks what the strongest weapon in Gunstar Heroes is, with the characters suggesting Harakiri or Bakuretsu, a reference to in-game actions. The next page features a section titled Industry Lectures That Will Help You Advance Polygon Yaru. This section has Koenig Ishida as the lecturer, and goes into the process of projecting 3D objects onto a 2D plane, including the calculations needed for real-time CG on the Mega Drive. It explains how rendering straight lines efficiently speeds up the process. There is also a New Corner Creation, Things You Can't Do Alone segment. This is followed by a review called Otaku's Zokutsu, which is the final oasis for game maniacs. The game being reviewed is Phantasy Star for the Sega Mark II, known internationally as the Master System, with the reviewer Wave 1993 praising the smooth scrolling and 3D dungeons. Also on the page is Gyokai, First-Year Student's Heartful Essay, Minako's Backstage Pass. It describes her weekend activities such as shopping and eating in Shinjuku and Ikebukuro, followed by playing Street Fighter II at the arcade. Minako doesn't usually play puzzle games, but the large-screen version of Street Fighter II has drawn a crowd and has her attention. Finally, there is a small editor's note commenting on the launch of the new Fakutori column and the next issue, and an invitation for readers to send in postcards with feedback. The address for submissions is provided with a note that Treasure will gift something special to those featured. This page is a section called Mega Drive Third-Party Maker Information from Readers of Special, focusing on reader submissions and opinions about Mega Drive, Genesis, games. First up is the Messiah chapter, with a segment called Violent Explosion Chronicles, discussing the game Assault Suits Vulcan 2, likely the Japanese name. The text expresses excitement and encourages readers to share their thoughts. The next section is Vit Tokai chapter. What's the word on Daiginju now? It mentions Hasegawa, the 10th level salesperson, and Otori, Great Tori, the 10th level arcade gamer. They discuss the difficulty of certain games. The page also includes a comic strip titled Unpopular, Unserialized Manga Attack. Finally, there is an advertisement for Langrisser 2, mentioning a planned summer release. The next page is from the Amazing Wonderful Corner section of the magazine, celebrating its first anniversary. The text expresses gratitude to the manufacturers who have supported the corner, and promises a powerful lineup of content, including a feature on Messiah's counterattack, and a 3-part series from Kue. The page then presents a humorous comic strip featuring a character attempting to sell a copy of Nobunaga's Ambition, National Edition. It also includes a small column on Electronic Arts Victor titles, with a tagline, "Let my tears flow," said the advertising representative. The article mentions the first DJ on paper, Iya Victor's Tanimoto, and recommends listening to Ministry's N. High Volume. Tanimoto humorously discusses the powerful effect of music, comparing it to doping, and mentions Wizard of Immortal. The writer also briefly discusses the TV show Susumu Denpa Shonen. Go on, Radio Boy, expressing interest in it from an advertising perspective. The page ends with an illustration of a character, alongside the text, "Really, Radio Boy is coming?" This page is a sales advert from the Sega specialty store, Santa, advertising sales on Sega Mega Drive, Genesis, games and accessories during July and August. The page lists various games in sets of 3, priced at 2,500 yen, 4,500 yen, and 5,500 yen. The advert also details various Sega Mega Drive accessories like video cables and audio cables, alongside game prices. Mega CD games such as Arcus I, 2 and 2 Eyes, Cyberborg 009, and Sylpheed are listed with prices, plus new Mega Drive game releases such as Rocket Knight Adventures, Wizard of the Immortal, and Shining Force 2 are priced and dated. There is also mention of the Game Gear console and game bundle. Towards the bottom is information on how to order by phone or fax, including shipping costs. The next page is a strategy guide for Sylpheed on the Sega Mega CD. The guide introduces the game's storyline, set in the distant future where humanity has expanded across the solar system. In the year 3076, unmanned fleets attack the colonized star systems. Earth falls to a rebel force called Zakalite, and the Grayson system is taken over. The remaining Earth Federation forces launch a counterattack using the Sylpheed spacecraft to retake Earth. The guide outlines the game's initial encounter with the rebel forces in the Z1 star system. The first stage takes place in the Z1 star system's asteroid belt, where a planet is destroyed by a large asteroid-destroying missile, followed by the fleet gathering in a nearby area to prepare for the Earth recapture operation. This page is a strategy guide for Sylpheed on the Sega Mega CD. It starts by describing the gameplay, which is a 3D-style shooting game with vertical scrolling. The guide then breaks down the game screen, explaining what the score, shield status, and option energy indicators mean. It also covers the range of movement for the ship, showing players can only move within a triangular area at the top of the screen. The guide also explains what happens when the shield runs out, resulting in engine or weapon damage. Recovery of the shield can only be achieved by retrieving a shield recovery item or completing a stage. The guide goes on to describe the different items that appear in the game, which are obtained by destroying the Velde enemies. In total, there are 9 types of items in the game, including Shield 1, Shield 2, Shield 3, All Repair, Option Energy Up, Destroy Invincible, Bonus 1, and Bonus 2. Finally, it warns against getting too focused on collecting items, cautioning players to avoid taking unnecessary risks that could lead to the ship getting shot down. The next page of the Sylpheed strategy guide dives into the main and option weapons. Main weapons have varying power depending on the range, with close-range attacks being more effective. Players can equip different weapons on the left and right sides of the ship after completing a stage. There are 4 main weapon types: forward beam, wide beam, phalanx beam, and auto-aiming. Option weapons require energy to use, and each has a different energy consumption rate. There are also 4 types of option weapons: graviton bomb, photon torpedo, EM defense system, and antimatter bomb. Using an option weapon will prevent you from using it in the following stage. The page provides details on each weapon's effects and energy costs. Option energy is replenished by defeating enemies, with the amount depending on the enemy's score. Collecting shield items and clearing stages also replenishes energy. This page of the Sylpheed strategy guide focuses on Stage 1, providing sightseeing spots and enemy information. Stage 1 is described as a relatively easy practice stage where players can enjoy the background scenery, including the M42 Orion Nebula. It highlights 2 sightseeing spots: the Z1 star system colony and a scene of Allied cruisers being destroyed. The guide advises players to rely on the forward beam weapon, emphasizing close-range combat to learn the game mechanics. Defeating all 6 Elkanor II squadrons will make an invincible item appear. Use this to then defeat the Orza. A tip mentions that the laser barrage comes from the left, and players should position their ship to the right to avoid damage. The page also lists the number of various enemy types that appear in Stage 1, such as 100 Kairu and 350 Baum, and explains their movement patterns and attack methods. Finally, the Stage 1 boss, Ramon, is introduced. Ramon attacks by firing boomerang missiles and parallel shots while rotating across the screen. Players are advised to attack from directly below Ramon, where boomerang missiles can't reach, and to evade the parallel shots by moving left or right. The next page continues the strategy guide for Sylphid, moving on to Stage 2, titled Asteroid. The objective score for this stage is 120,000 points. Bonuses include 1,000, 3,000, and 5,000 points, and the shield power-up. The page highlights two more sightseeing spots, the Triangulum Galaxy and the Andromeda Galaxy, encouraging players to appreciate the beauty between the asteroids. The guide advises learning the positions of icebergs, and noting the friendly laser fire may create more icebergs, and to avoid the center of the screen, and retreat to the bottom to avoid this. The page lists the number of different enemy types in Stage 2, such as 200 Bodines, 3,000 Albis, 100 Elnors, 400 Lazels, 500 Delios, 500 Meteorites, 100 Kairos, 400 Rixus, and 300 Meteors, along with their attack patterns. Finally, the Stage 2 boss, Aureus, is introduced. Players should stay at the bottom of the screen to dodge the attacks. Aureus fires arrow-like shots from the left and right. It's recommended to use the wide beam and attack from the sides, or stick to Aureus's nose with a shield, and finish the battle quickly. This page continues the strategy guide for Sylphid, now focusing on Stage 3, Giant Battleship. The target score for Stage 3 is 170,000 points. Items appearing in this stage include a bonus worth 3,000 points, a shield, and destroy. The page highlights a sightseeing spot, the Helion-class battleship, Listers. The guide advises that during the approach to the battleship, players should fly close to the escort ships to avoid attacks. However, getting too close could result in a collision. For the battle against Meldus, players should approach immediately after it fires, and try to get behind it. The page lists the number of different enemy types in Stage 3, such as 100 Kairos, 200 Westers, 100 Elnors, 400 Lazels, 200 Bodines, 250 Lofnols, 1,000 Gonos, 250 Meldus, 300 Meteors, 200 Benins, 800 Gadels, 500 Razors, 250 Burns, and 20 Warbows, along with their attack patterns. The Stage 3 boss is the giant battleship. The goal is to destroy it. The guide recommends attacking the central part of the battleship. Players should destroy the enemies before the battleship's cannon is in range. After the cannon is taken out, evade the lasers. The next page continues the strategy guide for Sylphid, now focusing on Stage 4, Under Construction Fortress. And the target score is 200,000 points. Items appearing in this stage include a bonus worth 5,000 points, Shield 1, Shield 2, Shield 3, and Option Energy. The page highlights two sightseeing spots. First, the Bara Nebula, and second, an internal descent scene. The guide advises players equip the wide beam main weapon. It is important to remember the position of the lasers and pillars within the under construction fortress to avoid them. The page lists the number of different enemy types in Stage 4, such as 100 Elnors, 100 Kales, 200 Bodines, 350 Fnois, 300 Belzetas, 250 Burns, 200 Benins, 800 Zamdos, 800 Zamdos, 800 Gadels, and 300 Geldis, along with their attack patterns. The Stage 4 boss is the destroyer Robion. The guide recommends a short decisive battle, because the pillars within the fortress become obstacles, restricting movement and leaving the player vulnerable to damage. The guide recommends either ignoring the pillars or memorizing their position for easier evasion. This page provides a strategy guide for Stage 5 of Sylphid, called Hyperspace, setting a target score of 300,000 points. The guide notes that no items appear in this stage. The text describes encountering familiar enemies in hyperspace, like the Lemons and Meldias that were defeated previously, with the advice to circle around and attack. It also warns against reckless movement due to the unpredictable Taros ramming attacks, recommending staying in the center to minimize damage. The page highlights two sightseeing spots, the M8 Lagoon Nebula, and Jupiter. It lists the number of enemy units in Stage 5 to 800 Gadels, 300 Taros, 100 Elnors, 20 Warbows, 500 Lasers, 250 Burns, 10,000 Meldias, 200 Benins, and 10,000 Lemons, along with descriptions of their movements and attack patterns, noting that the Taros are the most difficult enemy. The Stage 5 boss is the destroyer Zeldias, encountered near Jupiter after exiting hyperspace. The guide advises either destroying it or merging with allied forces to recover shields, noting it mixes regular shots with fireball attacks. When fireballs are present, use the wide beam from left to right. The next page continues the strategy guide, now focusing on Stage 6 of Sylpheed, known as Asteroid Belt, with a target score of 360,000 points. Items that appear in this stage are Bonus 3,000, Bonus 5,000, Shield 1, Shield 2, and Invincible. The guide mentions that the player will be joining Allied forces after leaving subspace, but must navigate the asteroid belt. It advises players to destroy asteroids while dodging enemy attacks, and to be cautious when collecting items, because they may be positioned near enemy laser fire. 2 sightseeing spots are highlighted. A mobile fortress, resembling a sea urchin that fires lasers infinitely from its tip, and Mars, seen as a red planet while traversing the asteroid field. The numbers of enemies are detailed for Stage 6, including Burns, Vitas, Meteorites, FNOYS, Rixes, Venoms, Mythias, Brewers, Pacius, Gadel 2s, Elnors, and Messias, and each has descriptions of their movements and attacks. The Stage 6 boss is the new Paratype destroyer Greenius, encountered after fighting through the asteroid field. Greenius attacks with 6 Baudouin shots from its Lavin bits and accurately aimed shots from Sylpheed. Destroying Lavine first is advised to prevent the 6-way shots, and the Graviton Bomb option weapon is recommended for defense. This page continues the Sylpheed strategy guide, now focusing on Stage 7, inside the mobile fortress, with a target score of 425,000 points. The items that appear are Bonus 1,000 x4, Bonus 5,000 x2, Bonus 10,000, Shield 2, and Shield 3. The guide mentions that after passing through the asteroid belt and reaching the vicinity of Mars, the player arrives at a large mobile fortress, a critical battle point for the rebellion. It recommends the Orb main weapon. The page highlights 2 sightseeing spots, a large battleship, and a giant combat unit which releases Jaggers. Enemy types encountered in Stage 7 are the Gonos, Geld-Eti, Metia, Jagger, Bodine, Phalas, Kyle, Leos, Robeon, and Rosimofu. The guide provides tips for dealing with Robeons by sticking close and using graviton bombs, and suggests firing continuously when entering the fortress to deal with barriers. The Stage 7 boss is the mobile fortress itself, which must be attacked while destroying all barriers. The guide advises prioritizing evasion over attack, as the fortress will eventually self-destruct. Avoiding the upper part of the screen and dodging Phalas are key to survival. The next page continues the Sylpheed guide, this time for Stage 8, the Grand Fleet, with a target score of 540,000 points. Available items include Bonus 5,000 x2, Bonus 10,000, Bonus 50,000, Shield 1, X2, Shield 2, and Destroy. The guide highlights 2 sightseeing spots, the Nice Class mobile cannon and a heavy cruiser. The recommended strategy is to use the Phalanx beam as the main weapon, as enemy attacks mostly come from the front and optional weapons aren't particularly useful. The guide also offers tips for dealing with the Zaganan enemy, advising players to dodge to the side and let all 4 ships appear on screen before taking them down one by one. Enemy types encountered in Stage 8 are the ZAMD 800, Mesa 300, Dagger 150, Pei 200, Gluir 400, Elnor 100, Benin 200, Metia 300, Gadel 2 1500, and Zaganan 2000. The Stage 8 boss is the Zeldis Destroyer, similar to the one encountered near Jupiter. This time, it has more attack variations, including 4 fire bullets and a ring laser that restricts the player's movement. The guide advises players to avoid being trapped in front of it for too long. This page continues the Sylpheed guide, now covering Stage 9, Moon Surface. The target score is 610,000 points. Available items include Bonus 1, 0000, X1, Shield 1, X1, and Shield 2, X1. The guide highlights 2 sightseeing spots, the moon surface itself, noting that the craters are randomly generated, and a view of Earth. The main weapon recommended is the Farala Lynx beam, and the photon torpedo is suggested for optional weapons. The guide offers strategies for dealing with the Melgesu destroyer, advising players to dive in close for the attack, and for avoiding the spread shots of the Raziel 2 and Zemd enemies by staying in the center of the screen. Enemy types encountered in Stage 9 are the Raziel 2 400, Raknol 250, Vidar 1000, Benon 200, Pei 200, Zemd 1000, Elnor 100, Dagger, 150, Gluir, 400, and Melgesu, 10,000. The Stage 9 boss is the Greenius, a new type of destroyer that appears at the end of the stage. It is equipped with a square laser, which can be destroyed, but the guide suggests focusing on attacking when the Greenius is moving and using the phalanx beam. It also mentions that players can risk a close-range battle. The next page details Stage 10, set on Earth, of Sylphid. The target score is 670,000 points, and available items are bonus 1000, X2, bonus 1000, X1, shield 1, X1, shield 2, X1, option energy, and destroy, X1. 2 sightseeing spots are highlighted, mountains and the sea, emphasizing their natural beauty. It advises players to stay towards the top of the screen and recommends using the forward beam as the main weapon and the graviton bomb as an optional weapon. The guide advises on using the destroy item when the destroyer is present for a safety net and to get 2 Teague ships before using this item. Enemy types encountered include Teague plus Booster, 500, Pleur, 400, Teague, 500, Benal, 200, Gertie, 10,000, Vernian, 10,000, and Batesel, 10,000. The Stage 10 boss is the Melgesu, using similar attacks as previous destroyers, but homing lasers make it easier to deal with. The guide suggests using the graviton bomb after the fire bullets are launched and attacking with the main weapon while dodging the bullets, recommending to destroy the boss to avoid damage. The next page is an interview with the developers of Sylphid, focusing on what makes the game special. The interview features Miyagi Takeshi, the director of the second development department, and Hamada. They discuss the analog feel of the enemy movements, drawing inspiration from games like Xevious. The developers aimed for an analog feel, especially in enemy movements, acceleration, and deceleration. They also talk about the differences between the original PC version and the Mega CD version, highlighting the improved graphics and smoother animation. The page also includes a screenshot of the game and a look back at the original Sylphid for PC 8801 MK2 Steradian. This page is an in-depth look at the development of Sylphid for the Sega Mega CD, featuring key insights from the development team, including director Hamada Kenichi from the second development department. The article highlights the technical challenges in bringing the game to the Mega CD, emphasizing the extensive use of CG graphics. The developers had to work around the limited CPU time available, coordinating between the Mega Drive's main CPU and the Mega CD's sub-CPU. They even had to use the Z80 for some calculations. One of the main challenges was the enemy placement. Enemies would sometimes collide with obstacles and disappear, requiring careful positioning. There was also the issue of the game's polygon count, which could cause slowdowns if it exceeded the limit. Despite these challenges, the team focused on fine-tuning the game balance and creating a unique shooting experience. There's also a section that dives into the game's unique weapon selection system, which allows players to customize their ship with different weapons for each wing. Lastly, there is a mention of the story and in-game cutscenes. The next page continues the look at Sylphid and focuses on the strategic elements and challenges of the game. Hamada, the director from Game Arts, mentions that the game's difficulty was initially criticized for being too high and has been made easier, but some still find it challenging. The team aimed for a balance between difficulty and accessibility. It emphasizes the importance of strategic gameplay, especially in the weapon selection. It's beneficial to adapt strategies, use weapons wisely, and conserve energy to get the best score. Playing on hard mode will require even more strategy. The page also features a section about the game's TV commercial, noting its use of wireframe graphics and digest gameplay footage. The voice actor is the same as the It's a Sony commercials. The commercial can be seen during shows like Quiz Toshinosa-chan, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Yaiba. There are also screenshots of the game and the TV commercial with comments. This page features Konami's Room, which is a corner of the magazine dedicated to Konami-related news and content. The page promotes the release of Rocket Knight Adventures, with the staff mentioning that they've been working hard to get it out, and they hope everyone enjoys playing it. There's an interview with the Rocket Knight Adventures developer, Mr. Waji, who humorously introduces himself and mentions that the project started the previous summer when he was summoned by Mr. K. The page also promotes Sparkster merchandise. Readers are given a chance to win Sparkster badges, sweatshirts, mugs, and alarm clocks. They are also giving away Sparkster telephone cards to the first 10 readers who write in with their thoughts on the corner. The magazine answers a question from a reader asking how to get a job at Konami. The reply states that a college degree isn't required, but knowledge, skills, and a love for Konami are important. They also mention that Konami is currently hiring for their development department. The page features comments from Hayasaka, who talks about appearing on a TV show and dealing with fans and prank calls. The next page features an interview with Mr. Yakino, focusing on the sound design of Mail, a game developed by Sega Falcom. Mr. Yakino emphasizes the importance of sound and how it enhances the game's experience. He discusses the challenges of incorporating both spoken dialogue and text, aiming for a system where players can choose between them. The goal is to balance the speed and ensure that the visuals and audio complement each other. Mr. Yakino mentions that the game will fully utilize voice acting, setting it apart from typical games with limited voiceovers. He admits that implementing extensive voice acting was a significant undertaking. There is a screenshot of the in-game action and a comment stating how the game has a good tempo, with the sound being a perfect fit with the game. The page briefly touches upon the future of game development, mentioning the shift towards 32-bit systems and CRUD-ROM media. The argument is that games need to evolve with the times and take advantage of new technologies to create innovative entertainment experiences. It also mentions that with 32-bit machines, they need to use the CRUD-ROM to its full potential to show off the video and CG. Additionally, it features a photo of Mr. Yano holding a Mail promotional item, with a note about it being a limited edition. This page is a mix of articles and advertisements, focusing on Compile's Puyo Puyo and Madu Monogatari series. First, there's an article promoting the Game Gear version of Madu Monogatari with Dr. Kami, explaining its features, including magical voice programs, a fuzzy parameter system, auto-mapping, cute characters, and a multi-story system where the story changes depending on the player's actions. There's also information on how to send in fan mail and requests for the game. Also featured is a short comic and blurb about Puyo Puyo in Kanagawa Prefecture. There's an advertisement for a Nazo Puyo puzzle contest, encouraging players to submit their own puzzles. It mentions that winning submissions will receive prizes, with comments from Puyo Puyo staff member Maguro Sake about creating good puzzles. It also mentions the deadline for submissions. The next page is a feature called Hurai Prospects Volume 4, a guide to abnormal club activities at Hurai High School. The page starts with an introduction to the school clubs, specifically focusing on science-related clubs. It humorously warns students about the aggressive recruitment tactics of various clubs. We get a glimpse into the activities of clubs like the Amateur Radio Club, Fortune-Telling Club, Ether Club, Horticulture Club, Cooking Club, and Robotics Club. There's a mention of an incident where the Cooking Club wants to move their room to the basement and put O in their name. A section called You Create Mega CD Hurai High School includes reader-submitted content, such as a story about a strange patch of discolored grass, and another about the misuse of a suggestion box. The grand prize for reader submissions is awarded to Mewtwo Toshiomi from Chiba Prefecture for their piece on fully utilizing a bird dissected during a biology class. Finally, there are contact details for submitting content for future issues. This page features the Reader's Criticism Endurance section of the magazine, where they discuss virtual shooting games, particularly Lock-On, which has become popular among industry folks. Several members of the MegaDrive editorial team have bought the game and are playing it in the nearby park or Sumida River. Two team members, Sakuyama Gunso and Ishiwata Ponta, share their Lock-On selling points. The page lists the magazine's best 5 overnight stays, ranking staff members based on their frequency of staying overnight at the office, with Ishiwata Ponta topping the list, followed by G1 Totsuka, London Kobayashi, Heikichi, and Sakuyama Gunso. The section titled This Month's Theme, First Half Sports Grand Prize, highlights the editor's choices for the best sports events of the first half of the year, including professional baseball, J-League, F1, and pro wrestling. Readers are encouraged to submit their own opinions. The video lecture segment focuses on wrestler Tatsumi Fujinami and features 2 VHS tapes showcasing his matches from UWF International, noting his skills and charisma. There's also a current buzzword segment that humorously highlights the phrase, "EH, are you still in rough draft? No good." Finally, in Diary Dupont, a staff member recounts their experience trying out DTP, desktop publishing, software at home, finding it somewhat inconvenient, and recounts a story about frequently losing things. This page is from the Jam Oji-san's Passionate Serialization. It features an article discussing the current state and future prospects of the Sega Mega Drive Genesis market. Jam Oji-san notes that while games like Shining Force 2, Virtua Racing, and Phantasy Star IV are being released, they lack the impact of Super Famicom titles. A reader from Okayama Prefecture, Mr. Murata Seiji, asks for Jam Oji-san's opinion on whether this year will mark the revival of the Mega Drive in Japan. Jam Oji-san highlights the success of Puyo Puyo as a rare example of a Mega Drive title that continues to sell well even after its initial release. He attributes this to the game attracting new users, partly due to hardware price drops and the simple appeal of the puzzle game. The article contrasts the situation in Japan with that in the US, where the Mega Drive and Super Famicom user bases don't overlap as much. Jam Oji-san suggests a shift in strategy from many varieties, small quantity sales, to few varieties, large quantity sales, advocating for giving third-party developers ample time to create high-quality titles, and guaranteeing a certain number of sales to alleviate financial concerns. There is a call for readers to submit questions and thoughts about the video game industry to be featured in the magazine. The address of the editorial department is given. The next page is an article titled, Nailed Down Game Experience, written by Eric C. Sedensky. Eric starts by referring to the previous discussion on game rating systems and transitions into discussing the world of American gaming. He focuses not on the games themselves, but on the hardware and peripherals surrounding them. Eric reflects on how home consoles have been around for a decade, and the industry needs to consider how gamers want to play in the future. He uses the example of the game Spectre, a simple tank combat game. Even though it seems initially unappealing, it found success due to online play. Eric points out the rise of computer networks connecting players, especially in America and Europe. This has led to computer games supporting online play, like chess. He discusses the cost of network play and the challenge of high phone bills when connecting to people overseas. He mentions the Sega's efforts with Tel Stadium to create online gaming, but it ultimately failed, possibly due to communication costs. Eric believes that if the network infrastructure and cost issue are solved, the experience of playing games will evolve greatly. He mentions that the American market, where PC networks are popular, have started to release modems for the Genesis. He speculates that Japan will follow suit in a few years. Quote, this page features Sugimoto Ri's column. She discusses the game Dyna Brothers, where she served as a supervisor along with mental health professional Kayama Rika. She jokes about initially mistaking Kayama for Idol Matsumoto IYO on the game's packaging. Sugimoto mentions a personality test in the manual that accurately described her. She says her favorite character is Triceratops, a defensive herbivore, fitting her preference for a small circle of close friends. She enjoys the game. Despite initial concerns about its accessibility, she became engrossed, especially with the Triceratops character, and describes her playstyle of producing Pichan, a dinosaur that eats enemy eggs to halt their breeding. She admits she was advised to use Pichan to stop enemy breeding, but she didn't like it because she felt bad when it was done to her. She humorously describes casting disasters on enemy locations with too many eggs to wipe them out. She asks if this makes her the same as the enemy, but ultimately justifies it by saying she does it intentionally. She also gives her opinion that it is a pity the package doesn't give the correct impression of the game. The Sugimoto Topics section covers her current interest in reading history books, particularly those related to Japanese history, and she expresses a desire for games that can utilize such knowledge. A note mentions Sugimoto Ri's appearances on TBS show Move and her participation in upcoming events. This page is another part of the Multimedia Declaration series. It discusses the fundamentals of CRE-DROM technology. The article opens by explaining that slide-DROM access speed is slower compared to music CRIDs. It highlights the difference between the two, with music CRIDs being designed for continuous playback, while CLI-DROMs are used for random access of data. It touches upon CAV, constant angular velocity, and CLV, constant linear velocity, technologies, explaining their pros and cons. CAV offers faster access but lower storage capacity, while CLV provides higher storage capacity at the cost of slower access speeds. It mentions that the CLV method was adopted to achieve longer recording times. It briefly mentions that by increasing the rotation speed, the data transfer rate could be improved, and describes improvements that have been made, and discusses recent advances in cry-drum technology, such as double-speed drives. There's a small section about music producer Karajan, who insisted on a 74-minute CD length to accommodate Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. It also includes a table outlining the basic specifications of CARE-drums. The page also contains images showing the difference between CAV and CLV disc formats. The page ends by mentioning that it is a way to provide basic knowledge, and asks for feedback or questions from readers. The next page presents a new soft schedule for Mega Drive and Mega CD games. For Mega Drive, August releases include Wizard of Immortal, Marble Madness, Killing Game Show, and Jurassic Park. September brings Harry Manada, Mutant League Football, Gunstar Heroes, Nobunaga's Ambition, Gauntlet, McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure, Jordan vs. Bird 1-on-1, Time Dominator, Street Fighter 2-Plus, and Wonder Library. October features Makai Zone, Shining Force 2, Pebble Beach, Columns 2i, Party Quiz Mega Q, King of the Monsters, Race Drivin', MiG-29, Road Riot, and Panorama Cotton. November includes Battlemania Daiginjo, Yu Yu Hakusho Gaiden, Cool Spot, and Vampire Killer. December, and later, includes Jungle Strike, Phantasy Star IV, and Boogie Woogie Bowling. There's also a section for games with release dates to be determined. For Mega CD, August features Super League. September has Winning Post, Aoki Ukami to Shiroki Mihika, Gencho Hishi, Sonic the Hedgehog CD, Vey, Thunderhawk, F1 Circus CD, Monkey Island, and Warao Salesman. October includes Eye of the Beholder, Lethal Enforcers, Might and Magic 2i, Arslan Senki, Yumemikan Monogatari, and the Third World War. November has Night Trap, All Shark, and Popplemail. December and beyond features Sengoku Denshu, Pop Run Land, Burning Fight, Shin Megami Tensei, and Nostalgia 2. There is also a list of games with release dates to be determined. This page features the new software schedule for Game Gear alongside messages from various software developers. The Game Gear software schedule includes release dates and prices for upcoming games. GG Alesti 2 is slated for September, while Hai Suimaru Bonten no Ken is planned for October, and Faceball 2000 in November. There is also a list of games without confirmed release dates, including Sonic and Tails, Taisen Mahjong Heisen 2, Donald Duck 2, Madu Monogatari, 3-Tsu no Madukyu, Scratch Golf, Battletoads, Aladdin, and Riddick Bow Boxing. Sega Enterprises mentions Echo the Dolphin as a way to enjoy the sea at home. Capcom teases more details about Plus in the next issue of BeepMD. Game Arts discusses Sylpheed and the high score competition among employees. Konami asks if players are enjoying Rocket Knight Adventures and promises a new title next month. Virgin Games anticipates the CSG show and the release of Cool Spots. Success is working hard on Panorama Cotton. Sandstorm is finalizing All Shark for Mega CD. Sims announces the release of Vei Ryusei no Yoroi. Shieldwave apologizes for the delay of Poppin' Land. Victor announces the release of Wonder Mega RGM2. Human recommends Berryarm for summer vacation. Pony Canyon promotes Eye of the Beholder. Micronix promotes the Third World War. This page is a questionnaire for readers. It starts by explaining how to fill out the provided postcard, including examples of how to mark answers correctly. The questionnaire asks about the respondent's gender, age, school/occupation, and the number of Mega Drive games they own. It also inquires about which computer game magazines they read, listing Famicom Tsushin, Monthly Famitsu, V-Jump, Family Computer Magazine, Marukatsu Mega Drive, Dengeki Mega Drive, Mega Drive Fan, the Super Famicom, Dengeki Super Famicom, Monthly PC Engine, Hippen Super, Gamist, and Game U. Further questions include what articles in the magazine they found interesting and uninteresting, and what consoles they own, such as Mega Drive, Mega CD, Mega Drive 2, Mega CD2, Terra Drive, Wonder Mega RGM2, Game Gear, Famicom, Super Famicom, PC Engine, PC Engine Duo/Duor, FM Towns Marty, and Neo Geo. It also asks which games they are interested in buying, listing a variety of titles like Eye of the Beholder, Afterburner 2, and Alex Boxing. Finally, it lists the winners of a prize drawing for July, including the winners of the MegaDrive Software Prize, Game Gear Software Prize, Sega Mouse Prize, Megaforce Sonic Badge Prize, Sylpheed Teleca Prize, and Sandstorm Teleca Prize. This page is dominated by a deep dive into Dyna Brothers 2, a strategy simulation game where players raise, breed, and battle dinosaurs. The feature highlights the game's enhanced mechanics compared to its predecessor, emphasizing increased enemy variety and strength, powered-up commands, and the addition of a two-player versus mode. It also mentions a practice mode for newcomers, suggesting the game is accessible while offering strategic depth. Cute, distinct character designs for various dinosaur types are shown alongside pixelated in-game screenshots. A quote from the manufacturer boldly claims the game is a revival of a legendary masterpiece and is 9.4 times more fun than the original, asserting it's a carefully calculated improvement rather than simply capitalizing on the dinosaur trend. The page also includes a menu listing other games covered in this section of the magazine, such as Jurassic Park, Rocket Knight Adventures, Gauntlet, McDonald's Treasureland Adventure, Wiz and Liz, The Killing Game Show, Nobunaga's Ambition, and a Harimanada. Overall, the page presents Dyna Brothers 2 as a significantly improved and exciting strategy title for the system. This page is a feature on Jurassic Park for the Sega Mega Drive. It highlights the game's premise, which mirrors the movie, about an island park filled with dinosaurs falling into chaos. The game allows players to choose between playing as Dr. Grant or a raptor. The article mentions that the game has different storylines, stages, and maps depending on which character you choose, resulting in two separate endings. Screenshots depict gameplay as both Grant and the raptor. There's also a section answering how the dinosaurs were revived in the movie, explaining the Dyna extraction from mosquitoes in amber, and a fun fact about how the Trex was initially portrayed. The page ends with the release date on August 27th and price in Japan of 6,800 yen. The next page dives into more detail about Jurassic Park for the Mega Drive, showcasing various dinosaurs and gameplay scenarios, including navigating jungles, power plants, and river rapids. The article highlights different dinosaurs like the Tyrannosaurus, Triceratops, Brachiosaurus, Velociraptor, Dilophosaurus, and Pteranodon, complete with descriptions of their characteristics. One section focuses on challenging areas that require players to either stop water valves or escape from various situations as the main character. The page also advertises tie-in events happening in Japan during the summer, such as The Last Dinosaur Kingdom 2 and Dinosaurs Have Arrived, Isozaki Haisogu, and promotes the game's authentic recreation of the movie's dinosaur sounds and movements. The next page provides a strategy guide for Rocket Knight Adventures on the Mega Drive. It warns players not to look if they haven't bought the game yet. The guide gives tips for defeating tough mid-bosses and main bosses, noting that the game can be quite difficult, despite its cute appearance. It offers detailed strategies for bosses in Stage 1, Stage 2, and Stage 3, including how to exploit weaknesses and avoid attacks. For example, Stage 1 involves a tank-like boss. Stage 2 features a series of enemies including a locomotive, and Stage 3 involves a crab and a fish-like boss. The page assures players that mastering these tactics can allow them to clear the game without using continues, and that boss battles are a highlight of the game. This page continues the strategy guide for Rocket Knight Adventures. It covers strategies for Stage 4 through Stage 7 bosses, advising on attack patterns and weak points. For Stage 4, the guide suggests using rocket attacks on the mid-boss. Stage 5 recommends waiting at the bottom of the screen for the big core-type boss. Stage 6 involves a robot piloted by axle gear and using the sword in the right upper and lower corners. Stage 7 gives tips for defeating Debrieges, where regular attacks are ineffective, and finally, defeating axle gear. The guide also includes a short message from the developers, describing the game as a summer adventure. This page is about Gauntlet for the Sega Mega Drive. It highlights the game's battle mode, which allows for 24-player competitive play, contrasting the usual cooperative gameplay. It mentions that each character retains their unique abilities and a mode for same skill level play. The page shows screenshots of gameplay with the 4 characters and dungeon environments. There are tips for each class: the warrior, who is good in melee range, the Valkyrie being adaptable, the wizard with ranged attacks, and the elf, who can survive easily. It also shows tips from professional instructors on playing each class. This page is also about Gauntlet for the Sega Mega Drive, focusing on the different battle map layouts in the battle mode. It emphasizes that the maps are randomized and require players to adapt their strategies to be victorious. The page showcases screenshots of 12 distinct map types, named A to L, each with unique features like destructible walls, warp zones, and item placement. There are tips for each type, such as utilizing item farms, and other strategic advice. Additionally, there's an advice column answering player questions. One question asks about improving emotional connection to the game, and the answer suggests using characters developed in the quest mode. The second question asks how to deal with heated arguments during versus games, recommending cooperative arcade mode. There is a short comment from the developers about pre-ordering the game and its heroes. The next page is an advert for McDonald's Treasureland Adventure. The advert says that if you are from Kansai, you can call McDonald's Makudo, but the accent is on ku. The completion gauge is 100%. And is a one-player game. It goes on to say that the sea makes a man stronger. The advert expresses an apology to the readers and Treasure, because it is only a one-page introduction. It says that it is not a half-hearted introduction, and asks the reader to read it from beginning to end. This time it covers stages 3 to 4, but it is more dense than what is shown. The text covers Donald's continued disasters and shows different traps. It mentions a boss called Jewel Ito Triple versus. There are some penguins with the text, "Cute penguins, high height." The advert says that it is almost the end, and they are departing to the star shown on the map. The team built a spaceship to go to the star, but due to an accident, the doctor's mistake, they crashed. The developers say to read the demo at the end of Stage 3. This page is about Wizard of Immortal for the Sega Mega Drive. The page describes the game as having puzzle elements set in a dungeon and focuses on the main character, an old magician trying to rescue a powerful magician named Mortimer. The game consists of 8 floors in a dungeon filled with puzzles and creatures. The text highlights the game's combat, where the player fights goblins and ogres by swinging their weapon left and right, dodging attacks to avoid fatigue. It also mentions various traps in the game, such as arrows, giant worms, and enemies that can turn the player to stone. It shows the player character petrifying and fighting enemies with weapons like staves and knives, with some graphic imagery. The ad concludes that the game is, for those who know it, is a legendary overseas game with great graphics and difficult puzzles, saying that the price is appropriate for what you get and recommends buying it. The next page features the Killing Game Show for the Sega Mega Drive, presented as the Mega Hot Menu. It jokingly says, "I'm not a chick," likely poking fun at the game's intensity. The game is 100% complete and supports 2-player cooperative play. It was released by EA Victor on August 20th, priced at 8,900 yen, an action game with 8 meters of data. The game is described as a holographic game set in the overly peaceful 21st century, where players risk life and death in a virtual world. The page highlights the game's 12 stages, each with its own unique environment, and describes it as an 8-directional action game where you control a powered suit. You fight enemies while trying to find the exit of each area, but face time limits and rising acid seas. The review highlights an autoplay function that replays the last mistake and allows players to restart from that point. The opening demo is praised as a signature feature of the game. The title logo was designed by Roger Dean. The items in the game, found by destroying canisters, are divided into weapon and tool types, and the page introduces a few, including a 3-way shot, a laser upgrade, a life recovery item, a key, and a way to stop rising acid. The author calls the game a gem, and states that it is a version exclusive to Japan that was removed from the Genesis version. This page is about Nobunaga's ambition, Zenko Kuban, for the Sega Mega Drive, featured in the Mega Hot Menu. It's advertised as a historical simulation game set in the Warring States period, where players aim to unify Japan. The game is said to be 100% complete and supports up to 8 players. It was released by Koei on September 15th, priced at 8,800 yen, and categorized as a simulation game requiring 4 meters and B2 memory. The page details 4 scenarios based on different historical periods and difficulty levels. The game aims to simplify the interface, with a Mac-style pull-down menu system, making commands easier to execute. Commands are performed on each phase of the game, starting with the game start and continuing with the random event phase. From the main screen, players can engage in the war and deal with the people, foreign relations, and other functions. One of the things the reviewer wanted was for the generals to have personalities that affect their strategic choices during the game. The developers highlight the game's simple system, emphasizing strategic decision-making and stating that it is a hard game, even for experienced players. The next page features a Hari Manada for the Sega Mega Drive, another entry in the BeepMD Hot menu. The game is described as a sumo wrestling game with a comedic twist, based on a manga series from Comic Morning. The game is 95% complete and supports two-player versus mode. The page emphasizes the over-the-top nature of the game, comparing it to WWF wrestling, but with sumo wrestlers. The sound is described as a mix of sumo and rap music. There's a focus on dramatic cutscenes and exaggerated expressions of the wrestlers, with unique victory poses. The single-player mode involves trying to break Futabayama's record of 69 consecutive wins. The review mentions a hidden mode and highlights the game's special moves. There are screenshots showcasing special moves like Kazan Harite and Ryuo Tenretsusho. The game features 15 wrestlers and includes ringside action. The developer comments that the game is over the top and feels like a new kind of fighting game. This page is a magazine feature titled Summer Vacation Special Research, Shining, Advanced CD and LD Encyclopedia. It gives an introduction to cutting-edge technologies such as laser-active and 3D, highlighting multimedia and Klydrom as key words for these new machines. The feature focuses on advanced machines, stating that if the hardware evolves, new concepts for software may emerge. It mentions that the Wonder Mega 2 has already been released, and hints at the upcoming release of Laseractive this month, and the 3D in the spring. The next page showcases the Pioneer Laseractive, highlighting its ability to play laserdiscs, creds, and credroms. It emphasizes the interactive gaming experience it provides, going beyond standard Kydrom capabilities with enhanced graphics. The Laseractive can play both analog video/audio and digital data from a single disc, and is compatible with Megald, Mega CD, and PC Engine HuckArt games via various add-on packs. The page includes a diagram illustrating the Laseractive format and features of the machine, emphasizing its ability to combine video and audio. It also covers the specifications and dimensions of the Laseractive, and mentions the inclusion of features like digital memory and a visual calendar. Also mentioned is that control pads bundled with the Megald pack are similar to the MegaDrive's pad, and an extension cable is available. This page features Laseractive titles. Pyramid Patrol is a 3D shooting game developed by Taito, set on Mars in the near future. Players control the PMFXT-05 Siglot to navigate 8 stages, including Martian surfaces and pyramid interiors, with beautiful CG and RSS 3D sound. Stage 1 is on the surface of Mars, with intense aerial battles and laser attacks from pyramids. Stage 2 is inside a pyramid with a jet coaster-like experience. The Great Pyramid, released by Pioneer LDC, is an electronic publication that explores ancient Egypt with detailed videos and CG. Players can explore maps and menus for information, with special modes to enjoy. I Will, released by Pioneer, is an interactive movie where players investigate a mystery across England. Players search for clues in real-life scenery to solve the case, with poker games also available. The page mentions compatible LD players for CDs and LDS and RSS, a 3D audio technology developed by Roland. The next page introduces Laseractive software, with the focus on Weldrum squared compatibility. First up is Devil's Judgment, a quiz game from Planet, where players answer questions based on themes selected and judged by Demon Kogure. Next is Quiz Ecosaurus, an ecology-themed quiz game from Hudson, where correct answers purify the Earth on the screen, with the aim to educate players on environmental issues. This game features multiplayer for up to 4 players. A lineup of future titles is previewed, including High Roller Battle, a virtual helicopter battle, and Space Berserker, a space shooter with CG graphics. Other titles include Vajra by Data West and Angelmate, an adult game where the player removes the clothes of girls after winning at poker or roulette. The page also highlights the establishment of the Multimedia Creators Network, MCN, with musicians and creators such as Hideki Nonaka, Hiroyuki Nakano, Hirofumi Ito, and Hajime Tatehana involved. 3 titles are currently in development, including 3D Museum, and melon brain. The page explains the meaning of byte as a unit of data storage, and the meaning of the words decoder and pixel in relation to the laser active. Lastly, it introduces Manhattan Requiem, an interactive movie using real-life pictures, and Goku by Hiroshi Aramata, which is an adventure set in modern times, with a warning message, made using high-vision CG. This page is an article on advanced CD and LD technology, focusing on the Wonder Library Chrodrom electronic publishing system for the Sega Mega Drive, highlighting its features, compatible software, and potential. The Wonder Library, priced at 9,900 yen, works with the Wonder Mega and Mega CD to expand CD media use, allowing users to store up to 200 MB of text, images, and audio. Its compact size and keyword search capabilities are noted, and it supports over 100 titles. The article provides examples of electronic dictionary use, illustrating how to search for words in English, Japanese, and French, using a keyboard-like interface with cursor controls. It mentions software ranging from dictionaries and language learning tools to leisure databases. Moving on, the piece discusses photo CD technology for preserving images, highlighting its high resolution and ease of use. It also touches on the PC Engine arcade card, explaining the need for buffer RAM due to the Chrydrom's large capacity, which the arcade card aims to address. The article also notes the upcoming arcade card release for the PC Engine, which is like Street Fighter II in thickness and priced at 12,800 yen. Finally, there's a brief mention of RISC, reduced instruction set chip technology, which simplifies instructions to improve processing speed. The 3DO, a 32-bit CD-ROM system aiming for global standards, is being developed by a consortium including Electronic Arts, AT&T, Time Warner, and Matsushita. The system, featuring a 32-bit RISC CPU and dual-speed CD-ROM drive, is expected to retail for around $700. Manufacturers like Matsushita, Sanyo, and others will produce 3DO hardware based on the open standard. Business titles like PGA Tour Golf, Road Rash, and Shockwave highlight the system's 3D graphics capabilities. The 3DO aims to revolutionize home entertainment with CD-ROM-based games emphasizing video, CGI, and sound. The article speculates on the future of CD/LD machines and the need for compatible software. This page from Mega CD Press is all about Sonic the Hedgehog CD, with a spotlight on the game's special stages. The reviewer is excited about the 3D stages, noting that the series always has some unique elements. They highlight the 3D stages made possible by the Mega Kid's scaling and rotation capabilities. Screenshots show Sonic running through these stages, jumping, and more. The page also gives tips for accessing these stages, such as finding big rings at the end of levels, and hints to taking on UFOs. There is also information on time stones, and perhaps the Chaos Emeralds. The page also lists other games covered in the magazine including Lethal Enforcers, Advanced Busterhawk Glaylancer, Eye of the Beholder, Umemi Mystery Mansion, Night Trap, Axe 101, Might and Magic 2i, Thunderhawk, Superworld Stadium, Bari Arm, Arslan Senki, F1 Circus CD Pop Full Mail, Allshark. The next page is an overview of Sonic CD's first level, Palm Tree Panic, and focuses on the time warp mechanic. It describes how the level changes depending on whether you're in the past, present, or future. In the future, the level is described as industrialized and polluted. The reviewer notes that the level layout also changes slightly between time periods, encouraging players to find their own routes. The page also highlights the new Super Loop Trap and the moving jumper platform. Plus, there's a section on the boss, Stare on Arm, including tips on how to beat him. Finally, the page explains the two conditions needed to activate a time warp: finding a signpost marked future or past, and then running at high speed. This page offers a preview of Collision Chaos from Sonic CD, emphasizing its pinball-like gameplay and time travel elements. It describes Collision Chaos as a factory at night lit up by neon. The page highlights pinball action, referencing the popular Casino Night Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but with an upgrade. It points out the placement of flippers changes based on the time era, with the past described as being easier. The page also previews some new traps, including flippers and bumpers. It notes that when Sonic hits bumpers, he bounces around. The page also touches upon trampolines and other returning traps from previous Sonic games. The Collision Chaos stage has variations across the past, present, and future, with the graphics shown. It notes that the future stage has more traps. There's a section on the boss, Egg Hover, and tips on how to defeat him in a large pinball arena by skillfully using flippers to launch Sonic. The lower half of the page discusses how the time travel mechanic affects the stages, noting that what you do in the past can affect the future, hinting at a deeper mystery within the game's narrative. The next page shows Round 3, Tidal Tempest, from Sonic CD. It notes that it's unique compared to the speed-focused Sonic, offering a relaxed mood, particularly in the water, where Sonic moves slowly. It suggests not forcing time travel in the water, but hints at going to the past or future and returning to the first waterfall. New traps in Tidal Tempest include looping waterfalls, gusts of wind that carry Sonic, and underwater propellers. The page warns to be careful of the tricky underwater areas and watch for air bubbles. It also highlights a stone temple area dug out of a cave in the past, where springs allow easy access to the future. The page highlights the boss fight against Eggmarine, a submarine-like Eggman vehicle that attacks using a ring of air bubbles. The guide advises fighting in the center of the screen due to the boss's four-way shots. The Sonic CD checkpoint section notes that the character patterns are greatly improved, with about 3 times as many patterns as in previous games due to the increased storage capacity of the Chromdrom format. This page continues the coverage of Sonic CD, showcasing Round 4, Quartz Quadrant, and Round 5, Wacky Workbench. Quartz Quadrant emphasizes high-speed sections within tubes and the dizzying effect of the constant motion. It highlights special elevators and warns of spinning sections that can make players lose their bearings. The reviewer jokes that some people may get too dizzy from the speed. Wacky Workbench focuses on stages with anti-gravity boards that launch Sonics high into the air and warns the player not to touch the ground, and introduces catapults that allow for long-distance jumps. There are also tricky sections where Sonic must navigate electric wires and avoid liquid nitrogen. The Sonic CD Checkpoint 4 segment introduces Amy Rose and Metal Sonic and teases the mysteries surrounding their relationships to Sonic, and asks what will be the outcome of the fight between Sonic and the ultimate enemy, Metal Sonic, and it advises readers to wait for next month's information. It mentions that character patterns have been greatly improved compared to previous games. The next page showcases Lethal Enforcers for the Mega CD, boasting a 90% completion rating and 2-player co-op. The reviewer expresses surprise at the solid feel of the light gun and the quality of the port, suggesting readers will appreciate it. The game, popular in arcades, promises an almost perfect port to home consoles. The page highlights the option to use either a light gun or a gamepad. It features a practice mode for calibration. Screenshots show the practice mode for 2-player action and the first 3 stages. Stage 1 is a bank robbery scene, where the player must rescue hostages. Stage 2 involves escaping the bank and dealing with criminals on the street, avoiding civilians. Stage 3 is a high-speed car chase. The reviewer adds comments of the gameplay and objectives. This page is about Crime Fighters 2, also known as Streets of Rage 2 internationally. It features Stage 2, Chinatown Assault, where you play as a running police officer, and comments on the chaos of the Chinatown setting. It mentions Chinatown restaurants and civilians, who may or may not be enemies in disguise. Stage 3 is the hijack, highlighting the airplane level and the challenge of facing enemies who appear to be civilians but are dangerous foes. The review mentions using grenades and fighting on the wing of the plane against the boss. Comments include the enemy's movements, which are like a dance, and the review also mentions the enemy wearing a gas mask. The reviewer also comments on the final boss. This page is a feature on Kyo Flying Squadron, a shoot-'em-up game, highlighting challenging boss encounters from stages 1 and 2. The text praises the game's detailed animations. Stage 1 focuses on the cow carriage, which is a mid-boss featuring a T-serving dull-type armored car. It details strategies for defeating this boss, including targeting the monkey and destroying the towers. Stage 2 highlights Daimaru the Sea Fortress, describing the need to watch out for the crabs it spits out. It also outlines strategies for defeating this boss, such as destroying the lightning emitters. It also provides advice on avoiding attacks and targeting weaknesses. The next page continues its in-depth look at Kyo Flying Squadron. It opens with a warning to remain calm and details how to navigate the subway stage, and also discusses the mid-boss, the Blue Daruma, advising players to destroy the blue sections with bombs or option bombs. The page also mentions that the hit detection is adjustable, and advises players to change it if they feel they should have dodged attacks. It also notes the presence of hidden one-ups in the game, and gives tips on where to find them in the first and second stages. There is a recommendation to turn on the visual options to better understand the game. The page offers advice on how to use the option bombs and mentions the nuclear bomber CX-8 and the genocide Lincoln, focusing on strategies for overcoming the enemy waves and obstacles they throw. This page is a preview of Eye of the Beholder for the Mega CD, a port of the classic Advanced Dungeons & Dragons tabletop RPG. The game confines players to the dungeons beneath Waterdeep. With the entrance mysteriously sealed off, it highlights the character creation system, which allows for extensive customization including race, class, gender, and alignment, mirroring the D&D rules. While leveling up a mage or priest doesn't grant automatic knowledge of all spells, new spells can be found within the dungeon. The page suggests watching out for traps and unexpected events. Clicking on suspicious elements in the environment is crucial, and the game features real-time gameplay, so time passes during combat. The graphics of approaching monsters are said to be impressive, and players are urged to act quickly to defeat them. The next page is an article about Yumemikon Monogatari, literal, the story of the Dream Mansion, a game for the Sega Mega CD, and touted as a new generation virtual adventure game. The article emphasizes the game's real-time movement and high-quality visuals that are all CG generated and constructed from detailed designs and drawings. It highlights the technical efforts to reduce loading times and ensure seamless streaming. The article showcases various environments within the game, such as a playroom and an art studio, that can be explored, and emphasizes how the CAG environments were created from original artwork. This page features two games. The first and most prominent is Night Trap, a game gaining attention due to its age restrictions. The article mentions that the Japanese dubbing is complete, making it accessible even if you're not bilingual. It emphasizes protecting the girls in the game, introducing characters like Kelly, Ashley, Megan, Cindy, and Lisa, along with their voice actors and the roles they play, such as Scat members and the Martin family. The second game is Axe 101, tentative title, described as more of a movie than a game, with the visuals being the focus. It mentions the game's focus on automatically controlled ships, where the player can choose directions. The article showcases screenshots and discusses the game's intense atmosphere and the desolate locations that can be visited. The next page covers two games. First, Might and Magic 2i for the Mega CD, touted for its expansive world divided into 64 areas. The article mentions that the Mega CD version allows more freedom in gameplay. It introduces the starting town, Fountainhead, showcasing environments and characters, plus tips on where to go for skill upgrades, with screenshots. The second game is Thunderhawk, a flight simulator. The reviewer praises the realistic polygon vehicles and describes the gameplay, which involves piloting an Apache helicopter in 3Ds, destroying enemy forces and facilities. The text also emphasizes the challenges of night missions and relying on radar. This page is about Sugo World Cup, a mahjong game for the Mega CD, emphasizing its adult-oriented appeal without relying on typical sexy gimmicks. The game focuses on authentic 4-player mahjong gameplay, offering a World Cup mode and a learning feature that tracks the player's style. The game features various tournaments, including the Japan tournament, where players compete in regional qualifiers across Japan to reach the national tournament. The World Tournament spans 8 regions, including North and South America, Asia, Europe, Africa, Middle East, Oceania, and the Pacific. Winning the World Cup requires winning 40 matches. The next page focuses on Sugo World Cup and its learning feature. The game records the player's mahjong style and allows them to recreate their personality in the game. This feature is available in the Sugo World Cup mode. The more you play, the more the game becomes like you. The page also highlights free battles, where players can face off against 88 different mahjong players in World Cup mode. You can also register friends and family to compete and see who grows the most. This allows for unique play styles. There is also a section detailing the rules of Sugo, including starting points, how the game is scored, and other things. There's also a contest for a backup RAM cartridge with data from 3 representatives of the BeepMD editorial department. You can enter by sending a postcard with your address, name, age, and phone number. Finally, the page introduces 3 members of the editorial team, Mr. Ome, Dr. Bartley, and Mr. Namosan. This page is an overview of Barry Arm, a side-scrolling shooter game. It encourages players to focus on evasion rather than just blasting through. The reviewer mentions that it's a great game for those wanting a challenging shooter experience and suggests buying it without hesitation if you have a Mega Drive and Mega CD. They claim that figuring things out yourself is much more rewarding than relying on others' opinions. The page highlights some gameplay mechanics, including the ability to transform, which reduces charge time but makes the ship larger and more vulnerable. The game also features 4 levels of speed adjustment, with the reviewer recommending playing at the highest speed for optimal performance. For weapons, they suggest equipping those that can attack left and right, and advises against using Burning Wave, because it can be hard to tell which walls it can pass through. There's also a section showing off some early-stage bosses. Stage 1 features Wolfig Grezard, who can be destroyed with 3 charged thundercrackers. Stage 2 features Zektord, where players should attack from the side to avoid its frontal assaults. Stage 3 features Joker, where players should stick to the upper left of the screen while using satellite bombs. This page continues the coverage of Barry Arm, highlighting later stages and bosses. It suggests that these later stages are short but very difficult. Stage 4, Olympus, advises players to not blindly attack all enemies and focus on dodging in the upper and lower spaces, especially against mid-bosses. The boss of this stage is Grazelis, which is covered by yellow armor at the start. The advice is to avoid the flames and attack from the left side, focusing on the boss's head when the inner part is exposed. Stage 5, Moonbase, begins after defeating Grazelis and heading to the moon. It is a high-speed scrolling stage. Burning Wave, which was advised against earlier, is now suggested for navigating the stage. The boss here is Zerfortress, which shoots blue bullets that spread upon impact. Players should ease up on attacks to prevent the bullets from spreading too much. Stage 6, Blue Wind, follows the retaking of the moon and descent to Earth. Atmospheric battles are intense, with many mid-bosses. The advice is to avoid power downs. The boss is CJONGX, a very large geogunner that can't be seen on one screen. The attack patterns are varied, but repeating, which means that patience is key to victory. The next page features 2 games for the Sega Mega CD. Firstly, Arslan Senki, a strategy RPG based on the popular fantasy novel, is being resurrected. After a year of silence, Sega has taken over publishing and is nearing completion. The game features both anime-style visuals and strategy-based battle scenes, focusing on the story of Arslan. The reviewer mentions the visuals are well done, and release is slated for October. The game is 65% complete and supports 1 player. Secondly, F1 Circus CD is featured, a racing game aiming to offer in-depth settings and realistic F1 experience. Originally planned for July, the release was delayed to September for balance adjustments. The game features detailed customization options and a 3D cockpit view, making it a unique F1 experience. The game is 95% complete, supports 1 player, and is from Nichibutsu. Players can check machine courses and a test drive. The World Championship puts you in a race of champions. This page focuses on Popful Mail for the Sega Mega CD. It showcases the game's graphics, animations, and gameplay features, highlighting that the Mega CD version has larger characters and more detailed backgrounds than the PC version. The reviewer was impressed by the smooth animations, like the characters' hair flowing while running and their legs bending while jumping, and praised the detailed graphics and attention to detail. The page highlights 10 actions Mail can perform, including stopping, running, crouching, attacking with a sword, jumping, defending, reading signs while facing backwards, climbing, and failing to land properly. There are screenshots of village scenes, emphasizing the details in the houses and shop signs, as well as action scenes showing Mail battling enemies. The reviewer also notes the smooth controls and the importance of responsiveness in action games. The next page is a preview of the RPG Allshark for the Sega Mega CD. It promises a large-scale story and delves into the unique systems of the game. Standard battles feature tactical elements, while space combat transitions into shooting sequences, alongside a variety of commands and mechanics. The story kicks off with the protagonist, Sisyan as Boshaman, A boy living in the town of Cosma on the planet Home. A massive meteor falls near Zaxxon Canyon, prompting Sion's father to investigate, along with Shoko's father, Sion's childhood friend. Sion and Shoko, driven by curiosity, defy orders and head towards the canyon, where they witness a tragic scene. The investigation begins outside the town, where various residents have ventured out to examine the meteor. A townsperson warns about dangerous creatures called Kiki appearing outside the village. The scene shifts, showing Sion distraught, exclaiming to his injured father. A final message is left by Shoko's father, indicating the meteor has brought something or someone to the town, and that it could be an all-shark. Elsewhere, Sishian's mother, Lucia, has seemingly disappeared from their home in Cosma, leaving the family confused. This page from Mega CD Press covers All Shark, focusing on the search for Scrap Joe, with Cal joining the party. The story follows Sion as Scrapshaman, whose father tasks him with finding Scrap Joe. Sion is looking for his mother, Lucia, who disappeared. The article details finding Joe in a junkyard, and mentions Lucia may have headed to space but lacks a ticket for a spaceship. Cal, a robot, joins Karajan and the party. The page shows gameplay snippets, including party management screens and dialogue. The bottom part covers Mega CD info, specifically the games Kuki Taro and Shin Megami Tensei. There is also information about the game VAV for the Sega Saturn and Sammy's Sengoku Densho. The next page shines a light on the magic of Shining Force 2, promising more impressive visuals than previous installments. The article showcases in-game screenshots of various spells like Blaze and Freeze, emphasizing how their appearance and power intensify with higher levels. Blaze starts as a simple fire pillar at level 1, but evolves into a devastating rain of fire at level 4. Freeze, while having a smaller area of effect, deals significant damage, and the ice projectiles become larger and more formidable at higher levels. The page also touches upon the unique spell Hell Blast, wielded by monks, which utilizes vacuums or kamaitachi for attacks. The graphic changes with level, with a vacuum-like tornado encompassing opponents. This page focuses on the magic of Shining Force 2 and introduces Anti-Spell, a magic spell that puts a large X mark on the faces of enemies, stopping them from using magic for a short period. Next up, it discusses the Spark Spell, a powerful attack spell, with a description of lightning strikes, and the Healing Spell, Heal, where fairies fly around the screen. The article mentions that there is a Summon Magic. The Summon Magic is a special magic that lets spirits attack enemies, but its exact abilities are yet unknown. The text also provides short descriptions of other magic spells, including Confuse, that confuses enemies with a percentage chance, Slow, which enhances the defense and agility, and Support, which boosts agility and attack, which conversely decreases defense and agility. Illuette blinds enemies. And finally, Sleep puts enemies to sleep, depending on the enemy type. This page introduces the main characters of Shining Force 2. The page emphasizes understanding the relationships between them to make gameplay easier. It also mentions the mascot character, which is a replacement for Yogurt from the first game. It features Bowie, the main character, a young boy from Grand Seal. Once a mischievous kid, he now studies under the sage Astral, alongside his friends Jaja and Hiwi. Hiwi, a centaur and Bowie's friend, is also a student of Astral. Though brave, he is a bit timid, and often does what Bowie says. Jaja, another friend of Bowie and a student of Astral, is a hobbit who hates studying but is very strong. Lastly, Zippo, a self-proclaimed righteous thief who steals from the rich to give to the poor, is described as the one who sets the story in motion. The page also discusses the party formation system, noting that only characters relevant to a specific event will join the party. Shining Force 2 introduces more characters. Sarah, a caring elf disciple of Astral. Astral, the wise sage mentoring the heroes. Sheila, a mysterious human former student of Astral. King Grand Seal and his beloved daughter Eris. And Kiwi, the game's turtle mascot. The page also notes the release of Shining Force Gaiden collector's cards, featuring artwork, stats, and in-game details. This page is about Shining Force 2 and features screenshots of various locations, characters, and battles. The article introduces a church and weapon shop, noting the detail put into the graphics. The church is shown with detailed images of the cross and stained glass windows, and the weapon shop has swords, axes, and staffs on display. The author appreciates the improved character graphics. The article also discusses the party member information screen, highlighting how graphics are improved, and notes that it's uncertain whether the main character will use attack magic, but it's hoped. There's a comparison to the previous game, detailing that the graphics weren't as detailed. Finally, the article concludes with some impressions of the game. The controls are said to be smoother and more responsive, and the NPCs have more varied dialogue. The author praises the fast-paced battles and is overall impressed with the game. There's also a preview of the next issue, which will feature more information on the game's story. The next page features a showdown between Victor Entertainment, Game Arts, Shibuya Yuichi, and BeepMD's editorial department in a mahjong competition to commemorate the release of Zhanggu World Cup and Zhanggu Toryumon. The competition is a strip mahjong tournament. The page then details the mahjong match, commenting on the players and the various events during the game. It mentions the players' tactics, such as one player immediately stripping after losing a hand, and other questionable tactics. It talks about the rules, the mistakes, and the continuous losses. The page concludes with photos of some of the female players removing their clothes. This page introduces a lineup of games for the Beep Game Gear portable video game player. It highlights Yokaito Hisuamaru, or Hisuamaru the Yokai Hunter, original RPG, set for release in October, priced at 5,500 yen. It supports one player and utilizes 4 meters plus BB memory. The game's development is 40% complete. The reviewer teases the story, where the protagonist, Hisuimaru, is transformed into a crow tengu. The page also features Nazo Puyo, a puzzle game included with +1 software. The game is already available for purchase and supports one player. Its development is 100% complete. The text also suggests readers send puzzle ideas to Sega for a chance to win a 5,000 yen reward. The page also mentions other titles, such as GGLST2, Sonic and Tails, and Donald Duck 2, and includes information regarding the 1993 September 8th release date. It states that the magazine features 100 original quests and an editor for users to create and challenge friends. The next page showcases several games for the Sega Game Gear. GGLS2 is 60% complete and is being readied for release next month, promising faster gameplay. Sonic and Tails is 30% complete, with the reviewer noting the atmosphere is closer to the Mega Drive version of Sonic 2, boasting upgraded graphics. Donald Duck 2 is 20% complete, highlighting the humorous character animations and beautiful backgrounds. The reviewer recommends this title for Disney fans. The GG Hotline section mentions titles such as Shadam, Ariel, and Teku, praising their quality. The reviewer expresses interest in +1 Sunset and mentions wanting to play Nazo Puyo. The author adds that the 3grams.g software games that a friend lent them are all excellent, mentioning Nazo Puyo as particularly well made. They anticipate spending a long time enjoying GG games, and notes that third-party titles like Fayball 2000 and Magical Story will be released. This page provides hints and tips for the Sega Mega Drive game, Thunderbirds Are Go. The page focuses on 2 specific challenges within Thunderbirds Are Go. One involves correctly orienting 4 stone statues to progress, and another addresses defeating the final boss. The solution to the statue puzzle is to arrange them in a counterclockwise direction. Tips for defeating the final boss, involving using the rearing technique to maximize damage, and a strategy for dealing with his magical barrier. There's a reader question about hidden characters in Shining Force 2, and the response confirms the presence of Musashi and Hanzo from Shining Force Gaiden 2. The page gives some hints about how to find them, also including some tips and tricks, such as changing character names, and a sound test feature. There's also a call for readers who are stuck in games to contact Thunderbirds HQ for help. This page is from the Beep Mega Drive magazine, featuring user-submitted tips and tricks. First up is J-League Pro Striker. One tip reveals a way to view player stats by accessing the player data screen, selecting data, and then holding start while pressing A and circa. There's also a trick to see the J-League ending sequence instantly by pressing up +A+C on the title screen. Next, for Slap Fight, a reader shares an invincibility code. Pause the game, then press right, down, up, down, left. The code renders the player invincible, and additional button combinations unlock further abilities and effects. Shining Force 2 gets a mention. This one reveals a hidden item in Battle 5, finding a mime theater ticket in a well, which unlocks a special scene in the endings. Lastly, for Devastator, there's a stage-skipping command. By pausing the game and inputting A, B, A, C, up, C, A, B, players can advance to the next stage. The page also features a call for submissions from readers, encouraging them to share their own game secrets. This page features Fatal Fury Special for the Neo Geo. It claims that a magazine article about the Neo Geo was well received. The article suggests this version is an upgraded version of Fatal Fury 2, adding more characters, including the 3 fighters, Krauser, Duck King, Tung Fu Roo, and even Geese Howard, making a total of 15 playable characters. It is also a special supplement of the special moves of Samurai Spirits, Samurai Showdown. The page also showcases character select screens and in-game action, including Wolfgang Krauser and Duck King. The game, Nam, 1975, a 3D action title set during the Vietnam War. The next page is a reader's prize promotion for the September 1993 issue. Readers can win various Sega-related items by sending in an entry card. The prizes include Favorite Mega Drive, Genesis. Software, 30 winners. Favorite Game Gear software, 5 winners. Sega Tap, 3 winners. Sylpheed, Deluxe Poster, 10 winners. Game Czars, Special Polo Shirt, 5 winners. NBA Mini Basketball, 5 winners. A review of the Mega CD game, Sylpheed, and other upcoming titles, such as Sonic CD and Gunstar Heroes, are teased. Also included is a staff list and a telephone number for inquiries related to the magazine. This page features an advertisement for Marble Madness, a game where you roll a marble to the goal. It mentions the release date of August 13, 1993, for the Mega Drive Genesis version. The suggested retail price is 6,800 yen. Additionally, there's an advertisement for Gauntlet, celebrating its release in September 93. Tengen is listed as an Atari Games company. The next page is an advertisement for Marble Madness on the Sega Mega Drive. It describes it as a 3D world race with marbles, highlighting gameplay elements like avoiding obstacles and enemies. The advertisement also introduces some of the quirky characters, such as Steely, Vacuum, Slinky, Whopper, Ooze, and Birdie. It mentions the game's release date as the 17th and lists Atari Games and Tengen as the copyright holders. This page is an advert mainly focusing on Gear games. Shining Force Gaiden 2. The Awakening of the Evil God is featured, highlighting its improved graphics, strategic battles, and original story, costing 5,500 yen, requiring 4 mega. It also mentions Shining Force Gaiden series collector cards. Jurassic Park for the Game Gear is advertised, priced at 3,800 yen. The ad showcases action-packed gameplay and the ability to make dinosaurs rampage on the Game Gear screen. Bare Knuckle 2, Streets of Rage 2, is also advertised for Game Gear, emphasizing the ability to play it anywhere. It costs 3,800 yen and supports 2-player communication play. A Game Gear bundle called Game Gear Plus 1 is advertised, combining a Game Gear with a popular game, either Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or Nazo Puyo, with a special price of 15,800 yen, asking if you are an action fan or a puzzle fan.